and Suwon were truly in love with each other. The two of them were just like him and Shinro in the past. When they looked at each other, they only had each other in their eyes. But he didn't want the two of them to follow their old path. He just wanted them to live a peaceful and happy life. It could be considered as his atonement. This result was expected by everyone. His Majesty remained silent for a moment as usual, then laughed. Before a Junshan, the Crown Prince asked me to arrange a marriage, but I refused because I intended to arrange the marriage of Princess Xuanla to my 7th prince. But a few days ago, the 7th prince told me that he already had someone in his heart, and that person was not Princess Xuanla. Concubine Chen also told me that children and grandchildren have their own blessings, and some things should not be forced. Now, Duke Jiang has come in person to ask for the imperial decree to grant the crown prince a marriage, and has even surrendered his military power. If I continue to stop him, wouldn't that be like forcing a couple to part ways? Since this is the case, I cannot let lovers separate. I will approve your request today. After the court session, I will draft the imperial decree to grant the marriage. You two families should go back and make preparations. Those who should propose marriage should propose marriage, and those who should give betrothal gifts should give betrothal gifts. Princess Xuanla was also canonized by me personally. She is of noble status. The 3 matchmakers, 6 betrothals, 3 letters, and 6 ceremonies are required. You cannot miss them. The emperor agreed to Duke Jiang's request, granted the marriage between Jiang Yu and Suwon, and also allowed Duke Jiang to recuperate at home in the future. From then on, Duke Jiang no longer needed to attend court. He only needed to stay at home every day and no longer had to go to the military camp to train. He just stayed at home to recuperate, trim flowers and plants, feed fish, etc. If the emperor had anything to discuss with him, he would naturally summon him to the palace. The 2 brothers Su Jing and Su Chen never thought that this matter would go so smoothly. I was worried that it would drag on, but unexpectedly Duke Jiang took the initiative to hand over his military power, and the problem was easily resolved. After the court session, Duke Jiang was the last one to walk out of the palace gate, and Duke Tang was with him. The sun was shining outside. Standing on the steps and looking up at the sky was square and surrounded by palace walls, trapping many people's lives. Looking back at the hall, Duke Jiang felt relieved for some reason. It's okay. I have devoted most of my life here, and now I don't have to come here anymore. From then on, the sky was high and the sea was vast, and he was no longer bound. Sometimes, learning to let go actively can be a kind of relief. You are willing to give it up. You just say no. Duke Tang stood beside him and seemed to see the relief in his expression. The two of them have been squeezing each other out for so many years, always wanting to be one step ahead of the other. Now, Duke Jiang has retired from the court, and now he doesn't know who to compete with. When he thought about the future when he would be able to sleep until he woke up naturally at home and play with birds and feed fish every day, he actually felt a kind of envy in his heart. Duke Jiang looked at him in confusion, ignored him, and walked away, which made Duke Tang very angry. When the imperial decree granting the marriage came down, Suwon was still completely dazed. She knelt on the ground and listened to the servant who came to announce the decree read a bunch of words of praise, mostly words praising how well-matched the two were, and only at the end did he mention the marriage. The imperial edict was handed to her. She still felt like she was dreaming. She had just crawled out of bed and was still sleepy, and now she was told that the emperor agreed to the marriage, and even the imperial edict had come down. The palace away, Suwon learned from his eldest brother what happened in the court today. It turns out that this imperial decree granting marriage was obtained by Duke Jiang using his own military power. Needless to say how important it is. His feelings for Jiang Yu were very deep, as everyone could see it. Any recurrence of old illness was fake. It was just to fulfill my son's wish. Jiang Yu was a little confused when he received the imperial decree granting marriage. He had been thinking of discussing the follow-up matters with him today, but who knew that his father had done great things quietly and had taken the initiative to solve everything without him having to say a word. Jiang Yu was holding the imperial edict, and Duke Jiang was standing next to him. Facing his puzzled look, he was quite proud at that moment. Duke Jiang stroked his beard and raised his eyebrows. Are you stupid? The imperial decree for marriage has come down. Are you satisfied? Have you prepared the betrothal gifts? When are you going to propose? Do you need my help? A series of questions made Jiang Yu feel a little dizzy. Everything is ready. Grandfather is ready, but you are not. I mentioned this to him before, but he never agreed, so I never prepared any betrothal gifts and only prepared my grandfather's share. Duke Jiang pulled out a document from his sleeve and threw it to him. I have prepared it for you a long time ago. This is the list of betrothal gifts. Take a look and decide what to add. But I have to tell you in advance that your grandfather's betrothal gift cannot be made public. Also, don't add anything too outrageous. If you don't know, you might think our Duke's mansion is a nouveau riche, and who knows how many bribes we have taken. Hurry up and get well, and find a day to propose marriage. Okay, stay here by yourself. If you don't understand anything about the betrothal gift list, send someone to ask me. I have so many things to deal with. Your uncles will definitely come to ask questions about my resignation this time. It's a headache. Duke Jiang rubbed his temple as he left. It was at this moment that Jiang Yu discovered that there seemed to be a few silver threads between his hair. Suddenly, he realized that he seemed to have started to grow old, and he actually felt a little guilty. Looking at the betrothal gift list in his hand, it was a thick book, and the contents on it almost used up 80% of the family assets of Duke Jiang's mansion. If Ningwei knew about this, she would probably be so angry that her heart, liver, spleen, lungs, and kidneys would ache. Jiang Yu was silent for a long time, and suddenly he smiled with relief. He closed the betrothal gift list, closed his eyes, and thought of Su Wan's face. He wished he could get better immediately so that he could go and propose marriage and set a wedding date so that he could bring her home as soon as possible. Duke Jiang had returned the military command to the court soon spread throughout Kyoto. Almost everyone, young and old, men and women knew that Duke Jiang, who had led the army to many victories and directly put down external rebellions, had given up his power over 100,000 soldiers in order to obtain an imperial decree to grant the crown prince a marriage. Everyone knows how great an impact these 100,000 soldiers have on the Jiang family. Without military power and no longer attending court, he was giving up legitimate power and choosing the most ordinary comfort and wealth. No one would be so generous to hand it over. They would hesitate for a while. But Duke Jiang did not hesitate at all. It seemed that for him, it was a kind of relief and liberation. Sometimes, the burden on a person's shoulders is too heavy, and the responsibility is too heavy. Now that he has no power, he can rely on the achievements made by himself and the previous 2 generations, which is enough for the Jiang family to survive safely for several generations. However, power is fascinating after all. Several generations of Jiang family have been fearless and have always held their heads high wherever they go because of the 100,000 military power. Now, this military power is handed over just to find a wife for his son. The uncles and elders of the Jiang family are really unhappy. The next morning, a group of people rushed into the mansion of Duke Jiang, claiming to be family elders, and asked Duke Jiang why he did not discuss with his family members before making a decision. Duke Jiang was not panicked at all. The Jiang family's honor had depended on his branch for generations. They had built the glory, and now it was up to him to return it, so he didn't need to explain anything to them. On the contrary, they have enjoyed wealth and glory over the years thanks to these honors. They are very prestigious wherever they go and are respected by everyone. Now that their interests are at stake, they are all anxious and have come to ask for an explanation. Duke Jiang said directly that it had already been paid, and if anyone wanted to ask the emperor for it themselves, they could go. It was useless to ask him now. Besides, he was the Duke Jiang, and he did not need to explain his decision to anyone. It was that simple. In the end, they held them accountable, but it was of no use, and they all went back obediently. At the same time, the marriage between the Jiang and Su families has also become a hot topic in Kyoto. No one knew who packaged their story into a story and spread it out, but now their good story is known everywhere in Kyoto. Xuanla County is beautiful and kind-hearted. 5 years ago, she saved the dying prince of Jianghua. The prince fell in love with the princess at first sight, and the princess fell in love with the prince over time. They became a couple, and after 5 years, they finally met at the top of the world and finally got married. Anyway, it's a good story and there's no need to pursue it. No matter who spread it, this version is a good one anyway. Tomorrow, Soo-won will go to watch the ceremony of selecting a concubine. She was still worried yesterday, but today she has already set off. It would be a shame not to join in the fun and take a look at what the scene was like when the princes selected their concubines in ancient times. It's always a good idea to see more of the world. But today, just after Su Jing and Su Chen came off court, they actually received an invitation from Prince Xiang's mansion, inviting his brothers and Princess Xuanla to a banquet at the mansion. He said that he wanted to thank Su Chen for saving the princess in Junshan, so he invited Su Jing and Su Wan as well. The two brothers didn't care and just treated it as an ordinary dinner invitation. In the afternoon, the 3 siblings hitched a carriage and went to Prince Xiang's mansion. Everyone changed into ordinary clothes and brought gifts to visit the princess, with full courtesy. Su Chen was always wearing a dark robe wherever he went. When he didn't speak, he had sharp eyebrows and bright eyes and a cold and hard temperament. There was a kind of majesty that could not be ignored, which might be the murderous aura he had cultivated on the battlefield. It was obvious that he was not someone to be trifled with. But this kind of temperament particularly attracted Jiaqing, and she was always attracted to him unconsciously. The 3 siblings arrived. King Xiang's family personally came to the door to greet them, which made the 3 of them a little flattered. It would be fine if only the crown prince and the crown princess were here, but it was a bit unusual that even the prince and the princess came in person. Greetings to the prince, greetings to the princess, greetings to the prince and the princess. The 3 siblings greeted in unison. Sir Su, General Su, Princess, please don't be so polite. Please come in and take your seats. The prince smiled in a particularly kind manner, and the 4 masters of the palace all looked very happy, especially the look in their eyes when they looked at Su Chen, which revealed a look of satisfaction. Su Chen felt embarrassed when they looked at him and avoided their gazes. Princess, is Jia feeling better? I want to go see her. Su-won felt uncomfortable with them, and she couldn't get a word in, so she simply went to play with Jia. Thank you for your concern, Princess. She is much better now. She was so excited when she heard you were coming that she barely ate a bite of breakfast. She must have been bored these days. Princess, go check on her. Jiaqing is a person who can't sit still. When he heard that Su-won was coming, he was very happy. It just so happened that the kittens at home had already been born, so I let her pick 2 to take back home. The maid took Su-won to Jiaqing's yard. Jiaqing was lying on a recliner in the pavilion, petting a cat. Princess Xuanla is here. Her maid noticed Su-won coming and immediately bent down to tell her. When Jiaqing heard this, she stood up and looked back and saw Su-won walking towards her from afar, waving at her happily. Jia, I'm here to see you. As soon as Su-won arrived, she found a seat and sat down, being very familiar. She and Jiaqing had already become friends, and the 2 girls didn't care about these empty formalities. Hey, Shangyun, come here, and let me hug you. When Su-won saw the kitten, she automatically changed into a cute voice. She didn't know why, but whenever she saw something cute, her voice would automatically become coquettish. Shangyun is a little male cat. Ruishua had just given birth to kittens. Jiaqing doesn't let it go out because he has to take care of the kittens. I'm much better now, Wanwan. Congratulations. You're finally going to have a happy ending with Prince Jiang. I hope you can live a happy life for the rest of your life. Jiaqing had naturally heard about Jiang Yu and Su-won's affairs a long time ago. The imperial edict had already been issued, so it was a foregone conclusion. Thank you for your good wishes. Su-won raised a sweet smile. She was still looking forward to her marriage with Jiang Yu, so she accepted all the blessings given to them by others. Wanwan, Ruishua gave birth to 4 kittens this time, but unfortunately, they are all male kittens. However, I promise to give them to you. You can pick 2 later, and keep them with Ruishua for a while. When they grow stronger, I will give them to you, okay? Jiaqing has always remembered this incident. Su-won had never thought about breeding them. He just wanted to keep two cats around to provide him with emotional value and companionship. Looking at them could heal his soul. Okay, I'll go check it out later. I'm telling you, I have to go to the palace tomorrow to watch the ceremony and see the princes choose their concubines. The Empress herself sent me a letter. Although the imperial decree to grant the marriage has already been issued, the letter is still valid, so I have to go. That would be very interesting. I haven't seen the Emperor brothers choose concubines yet. It must be very interesting. I envy you for being able to join in the fun. By the way, where is your third brother? Is he here today? Jiaqing was talking. He turned the topic to his third brother, his eyes flashing with anticipation. Suwon nodded. Your father personally invited your third brother. How could he not come? He and my eldest brother are talking to your father and brother right now. Hearing this, Jiaqing's face turned red. She hesitated for a moment, but was still prepared to tell Suwon the truth about why she had called them here. Wanwan, didn't my mother hear me talking to you last time? She has always believed that men and women should not be intimate with each other. But in their eyes, General Su and I have hugged and kissed each other, so my father wants General Su to be responsible for me. This time, I asked you to come here to discuss this matter. I want to ask General Su's opinion and see if he is willing to marry me. But don't worry, if General Su doesn't want to, we won't force him. After all, it was my initiative. She wanted to tell it when she was still in Junshan, but her father and mother wouldn't let her, saying they were afraid of scaring General Su. As for the follow-up of the incident where the princess accidentally overheard their conversation, Suwon had never known how Jia resolved it, but now he finally knew. It turned out that the prince and princess had taken a fancy to her third brother and wanted to take him as their son-in-law. No wonder they were so enthusiastic about him right away. Wanwan, tell me, will your third brother agree with us? Jiaqing was still very nervous. She was afraid that Suchin would refuse, which would mean she had no chance because Suchin didn't like her. You can tell from her expression that she is quite panicked. Her face turns pale and red, with mixed emotions. In fact, she was quite happy for the third brother that a girl liked him so much, especially when the other girl was such a lovely girl like Jia. Now, the Duke of Zhong's mansion is just an ordinary marquis family. It has no real power and poses no threat to the royal family. Prince Xiang is also an idle prince without much real power. In fact, it should not be impossible for them to marry into the family now. So, Suwon reached out and patted Jiaqing's hand to comfort him. I can't guarantee anything else, but my third brother is special to you. You have to have faith. Jiaqing smiled bitterly. Suchin treated her specially because she was a princess. After all, that was her status, and he just respected her. As for Su Chen's feelings, she had no idea. As for Su Jing and Su Chen, the prince and the crown prince invited them to drink tea, chat, play chess, and talk about daily life. As they talked, the topic turned to serious business. Su Jing was playing chess with the prince, while Su Chen was drinking tea with the prince, and it was the prince who spoke first. General Su, what do you think of my Princess Jiaqing? They had already inquired about it. Su Chen was unmarried, and it was rare to see even a female mosquito around him. Su Chen was suddenly asked this question and was stunned for a moment. Su Jing's hand holding the white chess piece paused for a moment, but only for a moment. He continued to play chess with the prince without looking away. Su Chen has to learn how to socialize on his own. These things are hard to avoid. Moreover, everyone has seen how Princess Jiaqing treats her third brother differently. She probably invited them to her house this time just to find out Su Chen's feelings. Coincidentally, as the eldest brother, he also wants to know what his third brother thinks. When mentioning Jiaqing, Su Chen couldn't help but think of her pretty face and the scene of her kissing the corner of his lips that afternoon. The touch, warm, fragrant, and soft, is still fresh in my memory. Every time I think of it, I feel like my heart is trembling with heat. He couldn't help but blush, and began to answer the prince's question very unnaturally. The princess is innocent, lively, and cute. She is very good. It is very good that he can think of these adjectives for a socially anxious person. The prince lowered his head and chuckled. General Su, I am a straightforward person and don't like beating around the bush. I will just speak my mind directly. He probably knew Su Chen's attitude towards his younger sister. He would blush unconsciously and get nervous whenever the topic was mentioned. If this wasn't love, what else could it be? That's easy, just say what you want to say. Your Highness, please feel free to speak. Su Chen sat very upright, with a serious expression, and he was qualified to join the party. The prince was amused again by his appearance and shook his head helplessly. The Prince of Xiang is also a rare, handsome man. He almost became a relative of the Grand Secretary's mansion. The prince is also very outstanding. He is a talented man with good character and appearance. Now Su Jing is actually a little scared when he sees him. Fortunately, the prince did not insist on marrying Qingli at that time, otherwise he would have no chance now. General Su, you saved Jiaqing's life in the enclosure. Our family is very grateful. Jiaqing has also expressed to us, intentionally or unintentionally, that she likes you. Now she has reached the age of marriage. I see that General Su is also unmarried, so I shamelessly ask on behalf of my younger sister, is General Su willing to marry into our palace? After hearing these words, Su Chun felt dizzy. He stared at the prince in shock and was speechless for a long time. What did the prince say? Can you please say it again? I didn't hear it clearly. He was afraid that he had heard it wrong, so he asked again stupidly. The prince covered his lips and smiled secretly, repeating, I say, is General Su willing to marry into our palace? Jiaqing is attracted to you, and I, the prince, will shamelessly ask for her. Su Chun heard it clearly this time. His heart was pounding, almost reaching his throat. He was a little at a loss and looked at his elder brother, but Su Jing only gave him his back and was playing chess with the prince seriously. It's his own marriage, and he has his own say. Could it be that he can't even see through his own heart? Sir, I am afraid I am not worthy of the princess. He was just a warrior, had no literary talent, and was not good at speaking. After organizing his thoughts for a long time, he could only say this one sentence. The prince misunderstood and thought that the princess was not interested in him and was rejecting him. Ask unwillingly. General Su, do you mean that you already have a woman in mind? Su Chen heard this and quickly shook his head to deny it. No, there is no other woman. Then why did General Su say that he was not worthy of Jiaqing? The prince was confused. What I mean is, I am just a warrior. I don't know anything about romance. I only know how to wield swords and guns all day long. I am a vulgar person, and the princess is of noble status. She has been pampered since she was a child. She is like the stars and the bright moon in the sky. I don't think I am worthy of her. Su Chun is just inferior, not that he dislikes Jiaqing. When the prince heard this, he realized what it was and what it was like. General Su, there's no need to be so modest. I think Jiaqing and you are a perfect match. Jiaqing has loved wielding swords and guns since she was a child. She is not interested in anything that ladies from wealthy families like. I'm afraid that General Su will dislike her for not being virtuous enough. Prince Xiang, Princess Xiang, and the Crown Prince have been worried about Jiaqing's temper since she was a child. They wondered whether she would be able to get married when she grew up and whether anyone would want her. No matter how they taught her, she never acted like a girl. She didn't know how to sit or stand properly and was always noisy. 1 year old, she ignored the pile of glittering gold objects and went straight for the jeweled dagger, which she couldn't let go of. At that time, the emperor joked that she would grow up to be a woman who is as capable as any man. Now that she has grown up, it is unclear whether she is as capable as any man. It is true that all she thinks about all day long is fighting and killing. After she came of age, the princess asked her several times if she had a man she liked, but she said that if she couldn't marry a man she liked, she would never marry in her life. It dragged on until she was 18, and she still hadn't received any news. Only now did she fall in love with Su Chen and show her deep love for him. Seeing that General Su was also a little worried, and the two families were well matched, the prince and princess naturally wanted to seize this opportunity. The prince said that his sister was not virtuous enough and was afraid that he would look down on her. Su Chun totally disagreed because he did not value this. The princess is very good, straightforward, and lovely, not pretentious, which is rare. In Su Chen's heart, Jiaqing is very cute, innocent, and carefree. It is not tiring to be with such a person. In fact, he had a special liking for the princess. Ever since she kissed him that time, he would sometimes even dream about her at night. It was really embarrassing. In that case, is General Su willing or not? Can you give me a definite answer? The prince only wanted to hear one result. Upon hearing this, Su Chen clenched his hands unconsciously. If his bride in the future was Jiaqing, he would be willing in his heart. He couldn't even imagine how interesting the married life would be after Yao Shui married her. Thinking of this, he even had a little vague expectation in his heart. However, the crown prince has been the one talking about this matter the whole time, but the prince has not expressed any opinion from beginning to end. Could it be that the crown prince has the final say on the princess's marriage? Prince Yang was not in the mood to play chess at the moment. His attention was always on Su Chen, so much so that he made several wrong moves and was already defeated. My lord, I'm grateful for your kindness. After the game of chess was over, Su Jing won, and he bowed to the prince. Minister Su is an excellent chess player. I am ashamed to say I am not as good as him, the prince said politely. It was Su's victory that was unfair. Your Majesty's mind was not on the chess game, otherwise, Su would not have been able to defeat you. Having been an official for such a long time, Su Jing has long been accustomed to these polite official terms. Su Chen had been looking at the prince intentionally or unintentionally, as if he would not speak, and he would be embarrassed to answer this question. The prince received the prince's eye signal, and then he smiled and said, General Su, Minister Su, the prince's meaning is what the king and the princess mean. If General Su does not mind my daughter's vulgarity, our two families can be considered a good match for each other. If you agree, I will ask the emperor to grant the marriage on a chosen day. How do you think? Good things cannot be delayed, and the main thing about the palace is efficiency. Your Majesty, can I go home and inform my parents first? As long as the princess is willing, I am willing, but marriage is a big deal, so I need to inform my parents and brothers at home. When Su Chen said the last sentence, he even smiled with his head down in embarrassment. He is so innocent. In fact, after Jiaqing kissed him, he wondered if he should be responsible for her. But he was afraid that he was being too sentimental. The princess was born in a royal palace and was a noble of good family background. He thought he was not worthy of her and was afraid that he was marrying up. This matter has been buried in his heart for some time, but he just didn't know how to solve it. Now that the palace has taken the initiative to bring up this matter and extended an olive branch, it is exactly what he wants, but he just doesn't know how to start. There was a big stone in my heart, and suddenly it was unblocked. He is also a very old-fashioned person and always feels that since he has such close contact, he should be responsible. After all, Jiaqing is the first girl who treats him like this. Of course, that's what I should do. But since you said so, I'll take it as your agreement. It's also a good idea to report to that girl. She hasn't wanted to eat or drink these past few days since I came back. She's only thinking about this matter. General Su, can you spare some time to go see her? The prince was not restrained at all and was only concerned with seeking benefits for his daughter. Su Chen was a little worried when he heard that Jiaqing had no appetite for tea or food. Yes, I will go to see the princess in a moment. Almost as soon as Su Chen expressed his attitude, Jiaqing received the news. The prince sent someone to report to her that General Su had agreed, but he still had to discuss it with his family and inform his parents. General Su will come to visit the princess in person in a while. Jiaqing was so excited that he almost jumped out of his seat. A medical miracle almost happened. Wan, did I hear correctly? General Su agreed so easily. When Su Wan heard the news, he was also quite surprised. He thought that with third brother's intelligence and temper, he would need some time to react slowly on his own. He didn't expect him to act so quickly this time. It turned out that it was all planned. Jia, you heard me right. I said that my third brother treats you differently. He likes you. Jiaqing was so happy that he forgot himself and laughed like a silver bell. She took Su Wan's hand and said to her solemnly, "Then we will be sister-in-law in the future. Don't worry, I will love you very much. She saw that everyone in the Su family was doing their best to love Suwon, so she knew that Suwon was the only one in the Su family who was loved by everyone, and as her sister-in-law, she should love her together with the Su family. Suwon chuckled and was amused by her. They had just talked it out, and everything hadn't even begun yet, but Jiaqing had already put himself in the position of the third sister-in-law. She really didn't want to love him too much. Suwon was crying her heart out. What the heck is going on? From now on, just take care of my third brother. She is about to get married, so how much time can she spend at home in the future? Little did she know that Jiangyu had already bought the house next door so that she could visit her parents' home more conveniently. Jiaqing's face turned red, and he pouted and said, I will take good care of him, don't worry. Why did this sound so strange? Suwon couldn't tell what was strange about it, but it was just strange. Oh, by the way, please send me to change into a brightly colored dress. My outfit is too plain, and I don't have any jewelry on my head. General Su should be here soon. Jiaqing suddenly realized that she was still dressed at home, which did not look good at all. When her lover came, she was embarrassed to see her. As the saying goes, women dress up to please themselves. Princess, it's too late. General Su is already on his way. The maid said helplessly. Almost immediately after the news came from the other side, Su Chun had already set off over, and the prince was also there. You are already so beautiful. How much more beautiful can you be? Sometimes changing your style can leave a unique impression on people.
Suwon comforted her.
She thought Jia Jia looked very beautiful like this, like a pure magnolia flower. Jiaqing looked down at her own outfit. She had no makeup on and no extra decorations. She only had a white jade hairpin pinning her hair. She was truly as plain as it could be. As he was speaking, Su Chun had already arrived. Suwon simply found an excuse to slip away and went to see the kitten so as not to disturb their little world. The prince just sent the person to the door and left. Su Chun walked step by step to Jiaqing's side. The maids all tactfully withdrew. Jiaqing lay on the recliner, covered with a thin blanket. This was the first time Su Chun saw her like this. Usually she was as warm as the sun, but today she looked like a peaceful and tranquil woman. Her skin was as white as cream, her face was flawless like white jade, and her lips were deep red. He couldn't look directly at her lips, as he would easily be reminded of the scene that day. Princess, I'm here to see you. Are you feeling better? Su Chen's voice was very low, and he didn't dare to look her in the eye. When Jiaqing saw him like this, he wanted to tease him. General Su, I'm much better now. Please sit down and talk. Standing there with such a tall figure, he blocks most of the light, which is really oppressive. Upon hearing this, Su Chen sat down on the stool where Suwon had sat before, and Jiaqing picked up an apple and handed it to him. Do you eat apples? She was at a loss for words and actually gave him an apple. Seeing that she had handed it to him, Su Chen felt embarrassed to refuse, so he reached out to take it. In the process, he accidentally touched her fingertips, which were very cold. He was startled and subconsciously held her hand, then put the apple back on the table. Why are your hands so cold? Did you catch a cold? His face was full of concern, and his palms were hot and a little sweaty. Men generally feel their body temperature is higher than women's. Now that it is the dog days of summer, the weather is getting hotter and hotter. However, she sat in the pavilion early in the morning, and it was cool inside. After a long time, her hands and feet would become cold. Jiaqing's heart was leaping with joy, and a sweet smile appeared on his face. Yes, a little bit. Can you warm me up? Jiaqing flirted with great courage, and was not afraid at all. It was not until this moment that Su Chen realized his mistake and quickly let go of her hand. I'm sorry, my lady. I'm sorry for the offense. Jiaqing pouted, feeling a little sad seeing him acting so unfamiliar. You have already agreed to the marriage. Why are you so distant? Do we have to treat each other with such respect even after we get married? As if he noticed that Jiaqing was unhappy, Su Chen hesitated for a long time before reaching out to help her pull the blanket up. Suwon was holding the cat in the room and secretly watching the various interactions between the third brother and Jiaqing, which was quite sweet. Su-chun has to learn how to get along with Jiaqing, but they have just started, so it is inevitable that they will feel awkward. Su-won chose 2 kittens, neither of which were even a month old. They were very small and looked very fragile. They were all white in color. They would definitely be very cute when they grew up. Stayed in the palace until dinner before going home. He told Su-chun that he had to talk to his parents about this matter himself. Su's father and mother would definitely agree with what he said. In their eyes, there is no such thing as family status, and they will not consider the interests and political disputes of all sorts. They only knew that Princess Jiaqing was very likable. Sure enough, after Su-chun told them, the old couple were very shocked at first, but after they reacted, Su's mother started laughing so hard that she couldn't stop. She felt that it was really unexpected that the princess would fall in love with her 3rd son. Su-chun was usually a dull person and didn't like to show off. Unexpectedly, with such a personality, he would be liked by the most lively Princess Jiaqing. Princess Jiaqing often comes to the Su mansion. She is beautiful and sweet-spoken, and Su's mother likes her very much. When she heard that it was the prince who had initiated the marriage, she could no longer sit still and wanted to discuss the wedding date right away so that all the children in the family would have a place to stay. Now she just wants to hold her grandson as soon as possible. Their agreement was expected, and Su-chun also wanted to inform them out of filial piety. Since they are the men, they naturally have to take the initiative. The prince had already made up his mind and would choose a day to ask the emperor for an imperial decree to grant the marriage. He also knew that it was not a good idea to ask for an imperial decree at this critical juncture. After all, it had just been granted to Prince Jiang and Princess Xuanla, and now his Xiang palace had joined in the fun, and it was also with the Su mansion. I'm sure his brother the emperor would not be too happy about it. So he had decided that as long as his brother the emperor granted Jiaqing a marriage, he would go to his fiefdom after attending his daughter's wedding and would never return to Kyoto again. Every year, Jiaqing only had to bring his son-in-law to the fiefdom to visit them. He also knew that the current situation in Kyoto was like this. The princes were now fighting overtly or covertly for the throne, and this place was a place of right and wrong. Now that my daughter finally has a lover, as a father, I will do everything I can to fulfill his wish. Since the emperor is afraid, the worst that can happen to him is that he will move away. After all, his fiefdom is a place with beautiful mountains and rivers, suitable for retirement. Kyoto is really hard to endure in winter, so Jiangnan is more suitable for retirement. Jiaqing didn't know that her father had already arranged everything for her. She just needed to lie down. There was no such thing as a peaceful life. It was just that someone was carrying the burden for her. Jiang Yu received a letter asking her to meet him after attending the prince's concubine selection ceremony, as he had something to discuss with her. Early in the morning, Su-won washed and dressed and went to the palace. The ladies were all ready, and each of them used their best tricks and dressed up to their heart's content, each one more gorgeous than the other. They all just want to stand out among the noble ladies and win the favor of the princes. What if they become the prince's consort? Concubine Chen received Su-won. She was the only princess who came to watch the ceremony, and she would just follow the other ladies to attend. Standing on the attic and looking down, you can see flowers blooming everywhere, and the air is filled with the scent of cosmetics. However, Su-won still spotted Guyu in the crowd at a glance, because she was wearing a moon-white horse-face skirt, which made her look particularly fresh and refined among the colorful flowers. Guyu seemed to be able to sense where she was, and she located Su-won as soon as she raised her head. Guyu didn't expect that she and Prince Jiang could be together so smoothly. It's a pity that Duke Zhong's 100,000 troops could not be put to the best use.
She was also surprised.
Why was Su-won here on this occasion today? But thinking back, it wouldn't be bad to let her witness with her own eyes that she took the position of the 5th prince's consort. She was finally going to surpass her. The princes have arrived at the scene one after another, and Su-won also attended with Concubine Chen and the others. She followed behind Concubine Chen, who held her hand the whole time, as if she were her own daughter. The prince's selection of a concubine was not that rigorous. He just gathered a group of gorgeous noble ladies together and performed some arts or something. Anyway, there was nothing special, so Suwon sat with the ladies. There were more than 20 noble ladies attending this time, and Guyu stood in the first row. She played her specialty, the kongho. She must have studied very hard in the past few years. Her skills have become more advanced than they were a few years ago. Suwon had to admit this. The three princes were sitting at the bottom. Guyu played the piano and looked at them with a pair of affectionate eyes. But Murongshung looked at her, but he didn't seem very happy, and his face was full of worries. Concubine Shu has been looking at her son straightly, with a look of pressure in her eyes. Murongshung didn't even dare to look at his mother. Suwon listened to a group of noble ladies who were either singing and dancing or playing the piano, playing all kinds of musical instruments. She was almost falling asleep after listening to it. Finally, the performance session was over. It took the whole morning, and Suwon drank 2 pots of tea. During the intermission, she took the time to go to the toilet. I came back. The ladies were already standing in a row again. In fact, selecting a concubine is just a process. Who will be given the seal of the prince's wife has already been decided. No matter how the princes choose, no one can get involved in the choice. First, the queen is chosen, and then the 2 concubines are chosen. The 3 princes stood up together, each holding a seal in their hands. The noble ladies were all nervous. Only those standing in the first row have the possibility of becoming the 3 princes' wives, and later the princesses. According to their rank, Guyu is also on the far left of the first row. Murongshung was already standing in front of her, and she looked at him with a shy smile. After the prince's wife is selected, the enthronement ceremony will be held half a month later, and a sedan chair carried by 8 people will enter the prince's palace. After this matter is over, they will be crowned as kings and will be called princes in the future, and their wives will become real princesses. Murong Huai was the most direct and went straight to Lin Jingshu, the daughter of the right prime minister. Lin Jingshu was wearing a light red chest-length skirt embroidered with irises. Murong Huai directly handed the seal of the crown prince's consort to her. Lin Jingshu looked at Murong Huai with red cheeks and took the seal with both hands. The two smiled at each other, thinking it was a good match. They believed they would be able to respect each other and live in harmony in the future. Lin Jingshu, the daughter of the right prime minister, was well known for her beauty and talent, and imperial concubine Chun was very satisfied with this marriage. Fortunately, her son is sensible and she doesn't have to worry about anything. At first glance, Suwon thought Murong Huai had already made up his mind about him. Otherwise, why would he be so direct? Wow, he went straight to the most beautiful one. I have to say, Lin Jingshu's appearance is really impeccable, and she deserves the title of the most beautiful woman. Although Suwon is beautiful, she doesn't think she is the kind of beauty that can overwhelm a whole country. The 6th Prince Murong Chi gave the seal of the prince's wife to the daughter of the Minister of Rights. In fact, he and the daughter of the Minister of Rights had only met and they had not even exchanged a few words. The daughter of the Minister of Rights had a pretty appearance and was not outstanding among all the noble ladies, but this was the choice of his mother. Their status is not high to begin with, and they are not popular in front of their father. Now they are dependent on the 5th Emperor and marrying the daughter of the Minister of Rights, just to help win over power. He has always been indifferent to matters between men and women, so when it comes to choosing a prince's wife, his main concern is interests. When the daughter of the Minister of Rights saw that the 6th prince had chosen her, she was a little bit incredulous because she looked so ordinary among the noble ladies. Murong Chi saw that she was stunned, then smiled at her and handed the seal to her a little more. She then took over with trembling hands. She thought she was just a runner-up today, but unexpectedly she was selected. Her status, she could only be the principal wife. She didn't want to be a concubine. In the end, only Murong Shung was left. Next to Guyu was the daughter of the Minister of Revenue. She looked down on Guyu and held her head high. Before, Guyu had been appearing in various occasions with the 5th prince. Everyone said that Guyu was the future 5th prince's consort, but she did not agree. Apart from being a county lord, Guyu was also a merchant's daughter and had no power or influence. Guyu didn't know why Morong Sheng was so hesitant. She just looked at him with a bad feeling in her heart. Shenger, what are you still standing there for? Your two brothers have already chosen their own. They're waiting for you now. Don't waste time. Seeing that her son was hesitant, concubine Shu urged him from behind. Morong Sheng looked at Guyu, closed his eyes helplessly, and then handed the seal to the daughter of the Minister of Revenue in front of Guyu. At that moment, Guyu was stunned. She looked at Morong Sheng in disbelief. Didn't they agree that she would be his future wife? Why did he give the seal to another woman now? Does that mean everything we said before is no longer valid? Guyu's face turned pale as she watched the daughter of the Minister of Revenue take the seal in front of her, then bowed to Morong Sheng with a smile. Morong Sheng kept looking at Guyu, with helplessness in his eyes. He had no choice, as he really needed a wife who could truly help him. Now that he and Morong Huai are investigating a corruption case at the same time, they need the full support of the Ministry of Revenue in many matters. However, he will only be willing to cooperate with him if he marries the daughter of the Minister of Revenue as his principal wife. This time, it is a good opportunity to prove himself in front of his father. He must put Morong Huai under his feet. Only with this chance can he prove his strength. The East Palace can't hold out for much longer, so he needs to strike first. Guyu's eyes were red, and she was trying hard not to let her tears fall, so much so that her body was shaking slightly. Zhao Hui, the daughter of the Minister of Revenue, tilted her head to glance at Guyu with pride, her smile extremely bright. Suwon looked at Guyu and suddenly felt a little sympathy for her. She gave everything to take care of the fifth prince, but in the end she couldn't even get a legitimate status. Was it worth it? Guyu caught a glimpse of Suwon's gaze from the corner of her eye. She knew that she was laughing at her. She used to show off in front of her with great confidence, but now she was slapped in the face. Who knows how she was gloating over her misfortune. Tears finally blurred her eyes. Morong Sheng also felt pain in his heart. Seeing his beloved woman looking so disheartened, how could he not be sad too? After selecting the prince's wife, there was still a concubine to be selected, but they had to take a break in the middle. Guyu turned around and left. She couldn't stay there any longer and just wanted to escape from this place of right and wrong and humiliation as soon as possible. Morong Sheng hurriedly chased after him. Zhao Hui has achieved her goal and doesn't care what Morong Sheng does because she is confident that Morong Sheng will fall in love with her in the future. Wait for me and let me explain to you. Morong Sheng chased after Guyu. When Guyu heard his voice, she ran faster and faster, tears streaming down her face. Now she is a joke, a huge joke. Morong Sheng finally caught up with her and grabbed her hand, but Guyu tried hard to break free. Your Highness, fifth prince, please respect yourself. You already have a wife, so this is inappropriate. Don't say anything in anger. Just listen to my explanation, okay? What else is there to explain? I've seen your attitude.
It was a wrong decision after all.
Guyu didn't even want to look at him and just wiped her tears. Let's not talk about this here. Come with me, and I'll explain it to you. Morong Sheng coaxed her patiently. After several struggles, Guyu was finally taken to the porch by him. Listen to me. I married her only as a trade-off. I need the help of the Minister of Revenue. But I don't like her at all. You are the only one in my heart. Don't worry, I promise not to touch her after she comes home. When we have power in the future, I will definitely divorce her and give you a legitimate status, okay? He put his arm around Guyu's shoulders and gently wiped her tears. I promise, even if she stays in the mansion in the future, my heart will always be with you. Even if you don't have the title of the queen, you will be treated as a queen. Didn't you say that you only want to be with me?
We're still together now.
When we succeed, you will be the queen, the most noble woman in the world, and those who look down on you will all crawl at your feet, okay? Morong Sheng is truly a high-end PUA master and also a master of making big promises. If Suwon heard these words, he would give him a thumbs up. Said afterwards. All we knew was that Guyu packed up, recovered, and returned to the scene of the princess selection. Suwon really had to admire her adaptability and also had to admire Morong Sheng's PUA ability, as he was able to coax the person so quickly. During the halftime break, Morong-hwai also found an opportunity to talk to her. As soon as he arrived, he looked at her triumphantly and said, "How about it? Is the seventh prince's consort I chose the most beautiful one among all the noble ladies?" Soo-won had to admit this. Lin Jingshu was indeed beautiful. "Yes, the seventh prince's wife is the most beautiful. You're so lucky. Tell me, was this planned in advance?" Soo-won was still not so particular in front of him. Since they were all modern people, they didn't need to be so pretentious. You figured this out. How embarrassing. He was still showing off there, and Soo-won was really helpless. "What about your two concubines? Do you have any choices in mind?" Soo-won was not surprised. After all, he was a prince, and it was normal for him to have 3 wives and 4 concubines. Besides, she was a modern person, which was good, so she wanted a one-on-one relationship. But did she want to ask others to do the same? That's unrealistic. "I have it. I plan to choose 2 more honest ones. After all, there are too many women in the backyard, and each of them has a high status, so it is easy for them to cause trouble. I don't want the backyard to catch fire before I have finished the things in front. And their families should not be too high. I am afraid Jingshu can't control them." What a good husband he is. He has already started making plans for his wife before he even enters the house. It can be seen that Morong-hwai is quite sincere to Lin Jingshu. He is not shy and will not say that he is a modern person and bring some modern policies here by force to break the rules, which is good. Also adheres to the principle of everyone minding their own business and not worrying about other people's problems. But I have to congratulate you. You and Jongyu have finally achieved a happy ending. I can look forward to drinking in your wedding wine. This prince did not hold a wedding banquet, but held a consecration ceremony. According to ancestral rules, the principal wife entered the palace 3 days before, and the concubine entered the palace 3 days later, using the side door. They were not allowed to wear red or green, but could wear all red. The rest, except for the 3 already chosen queens, the rest of the noble ladies were still there, lined up in several rows, waiting to be selected by the princes. Morong Shung gave the concubine seal to Gu Yu and the daughter of a 4th-rank military general. Morong Hwai also chose 2 daughters of Kyoto officials who did not hold high positions as concubines. The princess selection ceremony ended here, and it went relatively smoothly, except for Gu Yu, who felt humiliated. However, she still bowed to fate and chose to become Morong Shung's concubine. Soo-won was actually still a little confused. Gu Yu, a character who played the heroine, always felt that her vision was not good enough, and she could not support the heroine at all. Or perhaps it was because of her arrival that the entire plot collapsed. Now she was the protagonist, counterattacking all the way, while Gu Yu became a supporting role, gradually releasing the shortcomings of human nature. Morong Shung is no longer as perfect as he is in the novel. He is blinded by power and will do anything to achieve his goal. The party was over and everyone went home. Imperial concubine Chen asked her to stay for dinner, and Morong Hwai also asked her to stay. Soo-won had to give them face and stayed in Imperial concubine Chen's palace until dinner before leaving the palace. He came out, it was already night. There was a familiar carriage parked at the Xuanwu gate. It was Jiangyu's carriage. Anan was standing outside the carriage. When he saw Soo-won coming, he stepped forward. "Princess, the prince has been waiting for you for a long time." As far as Soo-won knew, the wound on this guy's buttocks had not healed yet, and he was still restless and running outside every day. "Although I thought so, I was happy in my heart." She stepped on a stool and got into the carriage. The furnishings inside remained unchanged. Because she liked to sleep in the carriage, her carriage was always covered with thick and soft blankets. Jiangyu was lying on it at an angle, watching her come in with a smile on his face. "What do you want from me?" Soo-won remembered that his people wrote back to him saying that they had something to talk to him about. After she sat down, Jiangyu naturally took her hand, placed it to his lips and kissed it, his peach blossom eyes sparkling with light, like a male demon who could suck people's blood. "It's okay. I just missed you. I really wanted to see you, you little heartless guy. You didn't even come to see me." Jiangyu felt aggrieved. Soo-won thought, It had only been a few days since they last met. So was it that serious? Have you had dinner? Soo-won didn't know how long he had been waiting here. It was already dark. Jiang-yu shook his head. You eat with me. Brother, I just came back from eating at Concubine Chen's place, and I haven't digested it yet. Why should I eat again? Soo-won touched her belly, which was still bloated. No matter. Jiang-yu started to act like a rogue, and Soo-won had no choice but to agree. So the two of them went to Chunglu. Soo-yun didn't expect that they would come out to eat at this time. Although he complained in his heart, he immediately arranged for someone to open the number 1 private room and invited them in. Jiang-yu could still sit, but he just needed to put 2 more soft blankets on the chair. Soo-won found it funny to see Jiang-yu sitting down cautiously. Of course, she couldn't help but burst out laughing. Who would have thought that Jiang-yu, who had always had a good image, would be so embarrassed now because of a beating? Soo-yun was there too. Seeing him like this, he followed Soo-won and laughed without any image. However, he did this for his sister, so when Soo-yun saw him now, his attitude was still quite good. Besides, he's now my future brother-in-law. I can't treat him like an enemy every time I see him, right? Jiang-yu knew what they were laughing at and felt a little embarrassed, so he coughed twice, awkwardly. Only then did Soo-won suppress his laughter. Tell me what you want to eat. I'll treat you today. Soo-yun said, thinking he was being very generous. Jiang-yu didn't hesitate to order a few of his favorite dishes, 2 dim sum dishes and 2 desserts. Recently, Chunglu hired a female dim sum chef who specializes in making pastries and desserts. I heard that she can make all kinds of dim sum and add her own unique creativity. She can make those dim sum that require more than 10 or 20 steps by herself. Most importantly, this dim sum chef is only 17 years old this year. It is said that her family has been making dim sum for generations, but for some unknown reason, something happened in her family, leaving only her and a blind old mother. She saw Chunglu was recruiting dim sum chefs. She came to try her hand. Seeing how talented she was, Soo-yun gave her a high salary to keep her. Soo-yun knew about her family and came to the capital to live with his relatives, but was driven out. The mother and daughter had almost spent all their money and lived in a dilapidated ancestral hall. I was at my wit's end. I happened to see Chunglu recruiting dim sum chefs, so I went in to give it a try. When Soo-yun saw her at first, he was a little bit unconvinced. This little girl in tattered clothes could make snacks? But he remembered that he was similar to her before, so he gave her a chance, but he didn't expect she could really do it. So, Soo-yun gave her 20 taels a month and asked her to take an apprentice. He let the mother and daughter live in the same courtyard with the maids in the box on the 3rd floor and gave them a separate room. There was a maid in the yard who cooked 3 meals a day for her mother during the day. She worked in Chunglu and didn't have to worry about her mother being left unattended. Jiang-yu ordered a dish of puff pastry and walnut curd, all made by the female pastry chef. Also cold and delicious double-skin milk and mung bean paste, both of which were Soo-won's ideas. When the 2 things were served, they were so exquisite that even Soo-won couldn't help but be curious and wanted to try them. Wow, it's so delicious. I want to eat it too. Soo-won said that he didn't want to eat it in the previous second, but he slapped himself in the face in the next second.
Eat.
Since you like it, then it's up to you. This is a restaurant opened by 4th brother, so you can eat whatever you want. Go and serve all the desserts that the princess likes. Let her taste them one by one. Since the dim sum chef just started working today, the promotion has not been made yet, so the Soo family has not had the chance to taste it yet. 4th brother, don't be like this. Take your time, don't waste it. If you can't finish it in a while, there's always time to come. Soo-won felt that Soo-yun was too extravagant, but he was still very happy that he was so good at talking. Soo-yun thought about it and agreed, so he told his subordinates to prepare 2 fresh dishes first. This kind of weather, coupled with cool and sweet desserts, is so comfortable. Soo-won was still thinking about her elder sister-in-law, Linger, and Jia at home. She asked her 4th brother to prepare a few portions and take them back for them to try, and then send another portion to Jia and the crown prince's consort tomorrow. She didn't need to say anything. Soo-yun was already prepared. The dishes were served. Soo-yun left. It was time for him to go back. As for Soo-won, he was not worried because Jeong-yu would send her back. After quietly having dinner with him and enjoying the dessert, Soo-won showed a satisfied expression. After eating, Jeong-yu also talked about business. Won-won, I'm ready. After this month, I will bring the betrothal gifts and marriage certificate to your house to propose marriage. Please say hello to your family. However, I still want to tell you that my grandfather's betrothal gift cannot be given to you openly. You can tell me a place, and I will send the betrothal gift to you. Here is the list of my grandfather's betrothal gift. Take a look. As he spoke, he took out the betrothal gift list, which was quite thick. Soo-won took it in his hand and flipped through 2 pages at random. The industries in it were almost spread throughout the entire Jean state. Jewelry and jade ornaments were secondary. The main ones were shops, fields, and even mountains. My goodness, with all these betrothal gifts and her own property, it's not an exaggeration to say that she is the richest woman in this dynasty, right? Can I spend all this wealth in my lifetime? Wealth is something you can't bring with you when you are born, and you can't take with you when you die. If you give birth to a son, and he's a prodigal, even your coffin won't be able to hold him down after you die. Seeing her worthless appearance, Jeong-yu couldn't help but smile dotingly. This is the guarantee your grandfather gave you. Keep it well. Put it in your Farong cottage for now. I don't know where to put it. This was the only place Soo-won could think of. Jeong-yu's but would have to wait until the end of the month to fully recover. He couldn't wait any longer and wanted to propose in person, so he chose a good day nearby. Marriage certificate these days. He had wasted a lot of paper, but he was not satisfied with any of it. He felt that it was not enough to express his importance to Soo-won. How about this? I'll put you in the mansion next to the Soo mansion. I bought that place, and then we'll connect to the Soo mansion. After we get married, we'll move there. Then you can go back anytime you want. Soo-won didn't expect him to move so quickly. Won't your father be unhappy if you do this? Soo-won was thinking, if he moved out after getting married, would his father disagree? What's the big deal? He can move in with us. It's not like we don't have a house for him to live in. Jeong-yu said indifferently. Good man. You really are such a fool to your father that he didn't even ask for permission when such a big thing happened. But it's better this way. Soo-won does dislike that the Duke Jong's mansion is too far from home, and it's inconvenient for her to go back to her parents' home. Jeong-yu is very thoughtful. Afterwards, Jeong-yu sent her back home and held her tightly in his arms all the way, like a little puppy. Soo-yi also came back very late after a social event and happened to run into Soo-won. Since the 5th brother was appreciated by the emperor, he quickly became famous in the circle of literati and scholars. Who in Kyoto doesn't know the name of Wu Yong-jusher now? Now he is the imperial painter and a rising star, and is also appreciated by many great scholars in the Confucian world. Nowadays, when he has nothing to do, he's invited to attend some literary gatherings every day, and he competes with various cultural figures every day. In addition, the palace invited him to visit from time to time, and when he was in the enclosure, many of the paintings had only a rough template and had not been refined, so his daily schedule was very full. Nowadays, a painting has been sold at a very high price. There are several businessmen in Xiangzhou who have collected his early paintings. These paintings have become treasures and are shown off everywhere. Now the 5th brother can no longer handle these things alone, so he hired a servant to accompany him in social activities and to assist him when he goes to the palace, helping to carry boxes and pass pens. Brought the servant back today. Soo-won was surprised when he saw him, because this is the first time I see it. 5th brother mentioned it a few days ago, but I didn't expect him to implement it so quickly. Soo-won bumped into them face to face and took a closer look, discovering that the new servant was very handsome, with a somewhat feminine look. He was about 1.7 meters tall, with fair skin, and was wearing white clothes and a scholar's hat. But after just one glance, he immediately lowered his head, and Soo-won didn't see it clearly. 5th brother, who is this? Soo-won stared at his servant, and the servant quickly lowered his head. Soo-yi smiled and looked behind him, then explained to Soo-won. He is a book boy I specially invited back. He will work beside me from now on. His name is Jushu. For some reason, Soo-won felt a bit doting when he saw 5th brother's smile just now. But it was too dark and Zhu Shu lowered her head. Suwon didn't know what to do if she wanted to take a closer look. "How old are you this year?" Suwon asked, looking at Zhu Shu. As soon as I asked the question, Su-yi answered first. Wanwan, he is a mute and can't speak. Suwon's eyes widened in surprise, thinking, what?
Mute?
This is indeed something that fifth brother would do. He must be annoyed by people talking too much around him, so he simply found someone who doesn't talk. Suwon could only think so, but she didn't ask any more questions and just let him be. Afterwards, Su-yi brought the person back to his own yard, but Ju-shu never showed up in public and always stayed in his fifth brother's yard. He would only take him with him when he went out from time to time and come back at night. Suwon was only concerned about it in the first few days, but she gradually forgot about it later. Other people in the Su family didn't care much about Su-yi's affairs, as he always had his own ideas. Since he became famous, many literati and scholars have visited his house from time to seek a meeting. Moreover, Jongyu is coming to propose marriage soon, and everyone in the family is busy preparing for this matter. However, Suwon always felt something was wrong. Oh, and everyone has heard about Guyu's story one after another. It is said that she became the fifth prince's concubine. The Su family was filled with sorrow about this, because everyone thought she would become the fifth prince's principal wife, but who knew the gap was so huge, and they didn't know if she could accept it. Suwon felt that she could do it. When she accepted the sachet from the fifth prince's concubine that day, her expression was extremely calm, and it was impossible to tell whether she was happy or sad. The first day of July, Jongyu came to the Su mansion to propose marriage. Jong Eun-ha came with him, bringing with him a long list of betrothal gifts that couldn't even fit on an entire street. The mahogany boxes are tied with red ribbons, which looks particularly festive. The palace also sent people to deliver gifts, and all the ladies added makeup to Suwon. Seeing Jongyu's attitude, the people in Kyoto guessed that he might have emptied out the duke's mansion. Some people say that Prince Jong dotes on women too much. It is not worth it to sacrifice his entire family fortune for a woman. But those people said that out of envy. But what it means more is that Prince Jong really cares about Princess Xuanla, and he took great pains to marry her and gave up everything he had. Suwon was dressed up beautifully by Shin Qingli and Sun Linger today, and wore a skirt with red elements that suited her best. She also wore a crystal hairpin on her head, put on lip rouge and painted flowers, and she was incredibly beautiful. When she smiles, her dimples are so deep that it makes one feel like falling into sweet wine, extremely intoxicated. Wanwan looks so beautiful today. Shun Qing touched her face and teased. People feel refreshed when good things happen to them.
Sun Linger joked.
Jongyu came, and Luyan rushed back from the front hall to tell her that she could go and wait in the front hall. Jongyu said that he wrote the marriage certificate himself and hoped that Suwon could hear every word. Today he was wearing his favorite purple and purple gold robe, with a beautiful jade sachet hanging around his waist. He tied his hair into a high ponytail today, which looked very spirited, because Suwon liked it. He couldn't hide the smile between his eyebrows. Today, the brothers of the Su family put aside all their work and stayed at home waiting for Jongyu to come and propose marriage. Soo-yeon said that he would give Suwon the absolute honor, so that Jongyu could see clearly that if he dared to treat her badly in the future, he would be in trouble among the five brothers. In fact, Jongyu already knew this, so there was no need to mention it specifically. Su's mother and father were also dressed up today. They watched as the betrothal gifts were carried into the Su family box after box. The yard was already full of them. They were still carrying things in continuously, and Su's mother was shocked, thinking that this child Au might have moved the Duke's mansion in. Will the Duke agree to this? Little did they know that this was the ceremony the Duke had prepared for his future daughter-in-law. Because of the betrothal gift, concubine Ningwei even made a fuss, saying that it had all been given to Jongyu. What would Jiang Yen use to marry in the future? Good fellow, the Duke hadn't thought about it at all, and even asked back in a rage. I remember Ian got married? He only has 2 concubines, but he is so careless. Ningwei was so angry that she fell silent. There were a total of 199 loads of betrothal gifts, all of which were here. Jong Eun-ha handed the betrothal gift list from the Duke's mansion to Sue's father and mother for their review. The couple were dazzled by the betrothal gifts, plus the dowry prepared for her by her 5 brothers. When Soo-won got married, it would not be an exaggeration to say that it was a 10-mile red wedding. I'm afraid that no one in the whole of Kyoto would be as generous as their family in marrying off a daughter. Soo-won arrived at the front yard and began to look at Jong-yu from a distance. He was smiling at her and she was also smiling at him. Jong-yu saw her coming, took out the marriage certificate and handed it to Jong Eun-ha, then knelt on one knee in front of Sue's father, Sue's mother, and Soo-won. Jong-yu, the son of the Duke of Jeong, wishes to marry Soo-won, the Princess Schwanla of the Minister of Personnel's residence. At this moment, Soo-won actually felt like crying until Jong Eun-ha opened the marriage certificate and began to read it. When the yang starts to move, the 2 surnames are in harmony. 3 are requested and 4 are present. The 5th generation will start to consult the wind and divination. When the 6 rites are completed, the 7 sages will gather and the 8 notes will be combined. The 9 harmonies will be sung, and the 10 will be perfect and harmonious. Today the 2 families are united in marriage, and the marriage is concluded in one hall. The good marriage will last forever, and they are a perfect match. Look at the peach blossoms on this day, which are bright and suitable for the family. May you have many descendants in the years to come and prosper. I wish to be husband and wife, to love each other without doubt, to enjoy this evening, to have a good time, to return to you in life, to miss you forever in death. I now write this promise of growing old together on a piece of red paper, and to record the oath of love in the red leaf book. This is my testimony. However, Soo-won was uneducated. When she listened to the marriage certificate, apart from being able to tell that a lot of thought had been put into it, she could not understand some of the words and sentences. However, tears of emotion still rolled down her face. Jong-yu walked up to her and gently wiped her with the handkerchief he carried with him. Today is a good day, don't cry. He coaxed her gently, and Soo-won didn't care about anything else and hugged his waist tightly. Soo-won hugged his waist and he also hugged Soo-won tightly. When everyone in the Soo family saw this scene, they were deeply moved. There is happiness, relief, reluctance, but more of it is blessings. Very good. They are a perfect match and have a lasting marriage. After the betrothal gift is given, there are 3 letters and 6 ceremonies to be performed and the horoscopes to be matched. The engagement letter, gift letter, and welcoming letter are all ready. The next steps are to offer the bride price, ask for the bride's name, offer good luck, offer the betrothal gift, ask for the date, and welcome the bride in person. The horoscopes of the 2 are undoubtedly the best, but the decision on the wedding date, whether it should be earlier or later, is actually decided by Soo-won. If she wants to go earlier, she can go earlier. If she wants to go later, she can go later. Jong-yu naturally felt that the sooner the better, and he wished he could marry Soo-won as soon as possible. But Soo-won said that everything was up to him, and he could choose the date. In this case, Jong-yu was not polite. He said that he hoped to get married in the month when the hibiscus flowers they loved were in full bloom, which was early September. However, Soo-moo and Sunlinger's wedding is also at the end of September, but they will have a small wedding and do not plan to invite too many guests. Just family and familiar people will be enough to have fun. This is also what the old doctor meant. Soo-won had no objection, and neither did Sue's father and mother. The sooner the better. Marrying off a daughter is less troublesome than getting married. Finally, the date was set on the 9th day of the 9th lunar month, an auspicious day that also avoided the woman's menstrual period. This date also sounded good. It has a long-lasting meaning than Soo-moo and the others, but it was indeed a case of overtaking others. Now, there are only 2 months left for the divorce, and the Gyeongbwa mansion must start preparing as soon as possible. In early July, the hibiscus has already formed buds, and it will be blooming in a while. Before the marriage was arranged, the 2 had to avoid suspicion in everything they did. Now that the wedding date has been agreed upon, they can go in and out and date openly. Soo-won has been in Kyoto for half a year, and Jong-yu wants to take Soo-won to Kyoto for a good trip and some fun. In fact, He just wanted to spend some time alone with her. Go boating on the lake, go shopping, visit the temple to worship Buddha, and you can also go for a picnic in this weather. They can go rafting and shopping together, but going to temples to worship Buddha and going on picnics are more fun with more people, so they can call their brothers and sisters-in-law. First, we went boating on the lake. We had been to this place a few years ago, when we came to visit Shun Qingli. It had been such a long time, but now we were here with our sweetheart. Same scenery, different mood. The sun was shining, the weather was bright, and the breeze from the lake was blowing gently, which was very comfortable. Suwon leaned on the railing and looked at the lake water below, which was emerald green and rippling. Jiangyu got a lot of river fish on the boat and prepared to grill them for Suwon to taste. He hugged Suwon's waist from behind, with his chin resting on her shoulder. His breath sprayed on her neck, causing her to shiver constantly and laugh because of the itch. "Stay away from me."
No.
Jiangyu not only did not move away, he even hugged her tighter. Now that they are recognized as a couple by everyone, and she has grown up, he can stick to her without any scruples. Seeing him like this, Suwon simply turned around to face him. He was tall, and from the side, she was completely embraced in his arms. He looked at her with deep affection. The wind blew the strands of hair on her forehead, and the fragrance from her hair kept coming into his nose. He raised his hand to brush it away gently. Suwon noticed that the corners of his eyes were gradually becoming moist and red, and she knew that this was a sign of his arousal. Sure enough, the next second, he lifted her chin. "Can I kiss you?" Suwon couldn't help laughing when she saw him hearing that. She raised her hand and slapped his hand away. This guy had obviously already thought about it in his mind, but he still had to pretend to ask her. This was enough. But even though she was laughing, she still closed her eyes on her own initiative. The fresh and moist lips came closer, and the familiar woody pine scent from his body surrounded her, and Suwon gradually immersed herself in it. As far as he could remember, they had kissed very few times. In the past, because she was still young, he had always been patient and respected her. Now that they had finally reunited, they rarely saw each other because of the outside gossip. Back now, the boat has passed through thousands of mountains. The two of them are engaged and are now together openly. Jiangyu started out by just tasting her lightly, then gradually became more and more enthusiastic. The tip of his tongue pushed open her pulley teeth, conquering her for a long time, causing the person in his arms to start to breathe slightly. This kiss was too passionate. When it ended, Suwon felt a little dizzy. Her cheeks were abnormally flushed, and her bright red lips made her look even more delicate. Jiangyu kissed the corner of her eyes lovingly. It was rare to see her like this. Jiangyu simply loved her terribly. He took her hand and went to eat fresh river food, which was all freshly grilled and had seasonings brought from his fourth brother. It tasted surprisingly good. We went rafting on the first day and went to the orchard to pick fruits on the second day. Suwon picked enough fresh seasonal fruits, including watermelons, peaches, plums, and purple grapes. A big orchard farm outside the city, with a rich harvest. Su's mother saw Suwon and Jiangyu running out all day, and every time they came back they brought back a lot of things. Today we even brought back several truckloads of fresh fruits and vegetables. These were not worth keeping, so they were simply divided into several portions, and some were sent to the Prince of Xiang's palace, the Grand Secretary's palace, the Duke of Zhong's palace, and the 7th Prince's palace. "Let's try some," freshly picked. Suwon selected only high-quality fruits and vegetables, and everyone reciprocated their gifts promptly after receiving them. Although it is not a valuable item, it is full of affection. The Su family is kind and affectionate. They get along very well with their relatives and neighbors and have a very good reputation in Kyoto. After going to the farm, Jiangyu took Suwon to travel around Kyoto and visited all the specialty food and clothing shops in Kyoto. Suwon was responsible for eating and drinking, picking and choosing. Jiangyu was in the back paying the bill, and Ainin carried the bags with a group of guards. These two travel in a high-profile manner and show their affection every day. Who doesn't know by now that Prince Zhong dotes on his wife excessively? The princess has been spoiled like this before she even entered the duke's mansion, and almost everything she asks for is granted. What if she gets married and gives birth to a child?
What will happen then?
But there were also jealous people who commented on Soo-won, saying that he was too wasteful and did not know how to be thrifty. He started squandering the Duke's mansion's wealth before he even entered the house. Soo-won didn't care at all. She didn't care what people said about her. However, Duke Jeong did something that slapped everyone in the face. Recently, he no longer went to court and was idle at home. So he hung out with those generals every day, fishing, drinking, and hunting.
He was so happy.
Once when they were drinking, a few civil servants came and talked about how their Jeong-yu mindlessly doted on the princess. They asked him to educate the prince and teach him that women should not be doted on like that, otherwise something bad would happen. As a result, Duke Jeong said bluntly, "A wife should be pampered. What kind of man is he if he doesn't pamper his wife?" One sentence will make everyone silent. Yes, Duke Jeong was also known for being a wife-doting maniac, but he was also very hypocritical and would never favor his concubine over his wife. Although Ningwei became a concubine, she did not gain any advantage, and everything was done according to the rules for a concubine. Moreover, Duke Jeong did not value the son she gave birth to very much. What he said about pampering a daughter-in-law only applied to Jeong-yu's wife. Jeong-yu is a legitimate son, and Soo-won is also a noble princess. The two are a perfect match. It can be seen from the fact that he does not remember whether the illegitimate son has a wife that his heart is completely biased towards his eldest son. Every time Jeong-yen complained that he was biased, he would retort, "Who made Jeong-yu grow up without a mother's love?" This sentence also made Jeong-yen silent. Everyone in Kyoto envies Soo-won for being a winner in life. Her 5 brothers are all outstanding and promising. She doesn't have to deal with the relationship between mother-in-law and daughter-in-law. Her father-in-law is partial to her family. Going to the temple to worship Buddha, Soo-won called his eldest sister-in-law and son-linger, as well as his eldest brother and second brother. The third brother also went. When the fourth brother saw that his eldest brother and others had gone, he wanted to go too. Soo-yi saw that they all went and felt that he would be a bit out of place if he didn't go, so he decided to go as well. Because of the betrothal matter, Soo-won had no time to pay attention to his fifth brother and his little servant. But she always felt something was wrong, so she chose a time to catch the enemy off guard. At that time, Soo-yi was painting in the study, and Ju Shuli was standing beside him, grinding ink and mixing colors for him. The desk was right next to the window. When Soo-won came, he could just see Soo-yi, who was painting seriously, while Ju Shu was watching him painting intently and did not notice Soo-won coming at all. She sneaked in quietly and asked the servants who were cleaning and trimming the plants to keep quiet. She then tiptoed to the window with Lu Yun and Lu Ying and observed secretly. Sometimes, once curiosity is aroused, it cannot be suppressed. She always felt that this Ju Shu looked a little familiar and his temperament was not right. Because there is a large area of bamboo behind Fifth Brother's yard, the air is filled with the fresh scent of bamboo. She leaned on the windowsill, sticking a little bit of her head out, and got a clear view. Ju Shu originally had his head down, but he always felt that someone was looking at him. Out of instinct, she raised her head and looked out the window. Soo-won quickly hid, but she didn't know whether she had discovered him. At this moment, she couldn't calm down for a long time. OMG, what did she see? This bamboo book seems to be the daughter of Mr. Chien. She had only seen her a few times in Xiangzhou a few years ago. At that time, Mr. Chien's daughter was only about 13 years old. Now 3 years have passed. When her fifth brother brought her back that night, it was too dark and she didn't recognize her. But this time it was broad daylight. There was no way she could make a mistake. Mr. Chien's surname was Luo, and his daughter seemed to be named Luo Shiju. But why was Miss Luo in Kyoto? Moreover, she was dressed as a man, pretending to be a servant beside the fifth brother. The two of them went in and out together every day, and even ate and lived in the same courtyard. This. It's hard not to think too much. Soo-won stood against the wall, holding his heart, feeling a little excited. I feel like what fifth brother is doing is really exciting. He's even doing cosplay? Little did he know that Sue-yi was already standing by the window at this moment. He tilted his head and looked at Soo-won, who was acting like a thief, with a meaningful smile. Soo-won was still immersed in his own fantasy world, while Lu-yun and Lu-ying had already lowered their heads guiltily. Won-won, what are you doing sneakily? Soo-won finally reacted after hearing the voice and was startled. She quickly stood up. When Soo-yi smiles, he still gives people a feeling of seeing through everything. He squints his eyes when he smiles and looks harmless, but he also feels like a sinister person. He had known that this girl would come to inquire, and he was ready to be discovered by her. But it's been almost a month before she remembered to inquire about this matter. She and Jong-yu were having so much fun outside some time ago that she thought she had forgotten about it. Sure enough, Soo-yi still understood her, and her gossip came late but arrived. Fifth brother, you've been sneaking around lately, haven't you? Are you even learning to keep a mistress in a golden house? Soo-won knew his secret and asked back boldly. Soo-yi heard this and lowered his head and chuckled. But when the beautiful lady in the room heard the words, "A beautiful lady hidden in a golden house," her heart started beating fast. She knew that Soo-won recognized her. If I had known you were curious, I wouldn't have kept it from you. But aren't you enjoying yourself lately? I don't want to bother you. He was saying that she and Jong-yu were too affectionate, and Soo-won's face turned red. She doesn't agree with the phrase, being so happy that one forgets to leave. Okay, what's going on? Soo-won walked straight into the study. When Luo Shiju saw Soo-won coming in, she knew she could no longer hide the truth, so she took the initiative to perform the ladies' etiquette for her. Meet the princess. Having been in the Soo family for a month, she naturally knew Soo-won's current identity. He was a princess, and she was a commoner. Miss Luo, long time no see. Soo-won accurately identified her identity. After learning more about it, I found out that Luo Shiju came to Kyoto alone and stayed in an inn after arriving. She only knew Soo-yi in Kyoto, so she found a way to meet him. Soo-yi felt that it was unsafe for her to live in the inn alone, and originally wanted to bring her back openly, but Luo Shiju was embarrassed because she was not familiar with the Soo family, let alone had met them. She felt burdened to just visit them like this. It seems that he is also a social phobic patient. Soo-yi respected her choice, so he chose this method and let her dress up as a servant and follow him. Soo-won got to know the gossip again. Miss Luo came to Kyoto alone. She didn't know anyone except Soo-yi. Wasn't it obvious that she came for him? Between men and women are easy to understand. It was obvious that Miss Luo was thinking about her fifth brother. Now the entire Soo family was in Kyoto and would never go back. If she took the initiative, she might miss him in this life, so she came to Kyoto. However, she felt that it was very embarrassing for her to take such initiative and was afraid that the Soo family would look down on her behavior, so she didn't want to let the Soo family know. Little did they know that the Soo family didn't care about these things. If Soo's mother heard about this, she would probably smile so hard that her mouth would be crooked. After all, it was the girl who was chasing after her son. Seeing that another son's lifelong event was solved, she was so happy that she couldn't wait to worship Luo Shiju. The Soo family is well known for loving their daughters-in-law, and Soo's mother is also a very easy to get along with mother-in-law. There will be no conflicts between the mother-in-law and daughter-in-law in the future. Soo-yi has already written to Mr. Chien, telling him not to worry about the young lady's safety and that he'll treat her well. Soo-yi has always been prudent in his work and life, and Mr. Chi entrusts him very much. Besides, how could he not know what his daughter is thinking? Since she wants to fulfill her wish, let her do it. After Soo-won listened to the whole story, she thought about it carefully. Miss Luo was a girl after all, and she couldn't follow fifth brother as a servant every day. This was not the Soo family's way of entertaining guests. Moreover, the fifth brother is a boy and Miss Luo spoils him, so she is afraid that he will not take good care of him. After much thought, Soo-won decided to let Luo Shiju restore his identity. Miss Luo, I will talk to my mother and the others. I will arrange a separate courtyard for you to live in. My parents will definitely be very happy when you come. Don't feel any psychological burden. Soo-won walked up to her, held her hand, and spoke to her in a soothing tone. Luo Shiju looked at Su Yi, who smiled and nodded at her. She was a girl, and he actually felt it was inappropriate for her to stay with him every day, mainly because it was not appropriate. He is a very polite person. He knows that Suwon is a girl, so he will definitely talk to her nicely and take her feelings into consideration. He will also pay attention to many details more than he does. Therefore, he did not intend to hide it from Suwon until she discovered it herself. At that time, she will tell her family not to pay too much attention to Miss Luo and let her feel natural and relaxed. Well, thank you, princess. It's been hard for you. Luo Shiju bowed to her again. Suwon was not in a hurry to tell his mother and family members, but greeted his sister-in-law. The aunt and sister-in-law acted separately. Shin Qingli asked someone to clean up a courtyard closest to Su Yi and arranged a careful maid to serve her. Suwon prepared the girls' daily clothes, jewelry, and some necessary daily necessities. After everything was ready, the aunt and sister-in-law went to Su Yi in person to pick up Luo Shiju. Her courtyard was just a few steps away from Su Yi's courtyard. There were several maids serving her there, but there was only one personal maid. She ran away secretly this time, without even bringing her maid with her, so Shin Qingli and the others had to take care of everything for her. Luo Shiju looked at all this, and was so moved that her eyes turned red. Thank you, princess. Thank you, madam. Shiju is very grateful. She bowed to the two of them, and Suwon and Shin Qingli simultaneously reached out to help her. Sister Luo, you have come from afar, so just stay here with us and feel at ease. If you need anything, just tell me. Don't be polite. Shin Qingli said affectionately, holding her hand. Suwon also nodded in agreement. Girls are easier to talk to each other, and Luo Shiju no longer feels restrained or embarrassed. Afterwards, Suwon told this to his mother. His mother's eyes lit up when she heard it, and she immediately went to see Luo Shiju in person. Luo Shiju changed back into women's clothing. Suwon felt that she was very suitable for light and fresh colors, so he chose light blue, green, and light cyan dresses for her, which were unexpectedly suitable for her. Mr. Chi was a Confucian scholar, and he was particularly particular about elegance in his daily life. Therefore, the daughter she raised also has an elegant style and is full of poetic and bookish air. She has a typical light-colored appearance, is gentle and elegant, and you can tell at first glance that she is very cultured and versatile. Her painting skills should be pretty good too. After all, she is the daughter of a famous teacher and must have inherited some of her father's talent. You know what? She is quite suitable to be the assistant of fifth brother. Hello, Madame Shu. Luo Shiju bowed politely. As soon as Su's mother saw her, she liked her very much and knew that she was a very well-behaved girl. Looking at her like she is someone in my family tree, ha ha ha. Miss Luo, I've heard of you in Xiangzhou before, but I've never had the chance to see you. Now I finally see you. If you don't mind, I'll call you Shiju. Su Yi felt helpless watching from behind. His mother was treating her as her daughter-in-law. Shiju nodded shyly, agreeing with Su's mother's words. What a good girl. Just stay at home and feel at ease. If you have any problems, go find Su Yi. He lives next door to you. Don't be afraid of trouble. If he bullies you, tell your aunt, and I will help you deal with him. After saying that, Su's mother glared at Su Yi, and her tone seemed to be advising Luo Shiju as her future daughter-in-law. Luo Shiju felt embarrassed. Suwon quickly said to her mother, Mom, please be more restrained and don't scare little sister Shiju. Although she said this, she was secretly happy. Now it seems that the fourth brother is the only one left alone with nowhere to go. Based on her understanding of the fifth brother, he would never get involved with someone if he didn't like them. The fact that he took the initiative to bring the person back this time says it all. Oh, look at me. I'm so happy. Okay, Auntie won't disturb you to rest. You take care of yourself. Su's mother also realized that her excessive enthusiasm made her child uncomfortable. Since then, there is one more person in the family, and the family has become really lively, except for the lack of children's laughter. The next day, they went to Wanfu Temple to worship Buddha. 4 carriages set out together because the 7th prince also joined in halfway, bringing with him his future 7th prince's consort Lin Jingshu. Lin Jingshu has already entered the seventh prince's palace and is now the legitimate consort of the seventh prince. Tomorrow is the day when the concubine enters the palace, but the couple does not take it seriously and even goes to the temple to worship Buddha together. I left the house early in the morning when it was barely light. Wanfu Temple was outside the city and could be reached in more than half an hour, but carriages could not go up the mountain, so people who came to worship had to walk up the mountain. The road up the mountain is all steps, extending all the way upwards, winding and twisting, and it is not easy to go up. However, Wanfu Temple was very popular, and even the nobles from the imperial palace came here to worship Buddha. Suyin got off the carriage and saw that everyone was in pairs. If Princess Jiaqing's leg hadn't healed yet, his third brother wouldn't be alone. He suddenly felt confused. How come everyone had a partner? Only he didn't. He couldn't understand it. Shin Qingli has had a poor appetite recently. When she was halfway up the mountain, she felt stomach discomfort. She held Su Jing's hand, bent over, and vomited. Her eldest brother was scared to death when he saw this. He kept patting her back, and although she felt nauseous, she couldn't vomit anything. Fortunately, Su Mu was here. He gave her some honey water that he had prepared in advance, and then they went to the pavilion halfway up the mountain to take a rest. Su Mu immediately took her pulse, and everyone looked at him nervously. At first, the second brother looked serious. The eldest brother hurriedly asked him what was wrong, but the second brother actually laughed. The pulse is smooth, like jade beads falling on a jade plate. It's a happy pulse. Congratulations, big brother. You're going to be a father. Su Mu diagnosed that his sister-in-law was pregnant, and his usually calm face was replaced with obvious joy. This is the first child of the Su family's grandchildren, so he is naturally happy. His parents will finally get what they wanted. The eldest brother heard this. He was stunned for a moment and obviously didn't react. But Shin Qingli touched her belly in surprise and then laughed. When everyone heard that the eldest sister-in-law was pregnant, they all smiled their blessings, especially Su Wan, because she was going to be an aunt, and the eldest brother could finally see the light at the end of the tunnel. Is already 26 years old this year, and finally has his first child. At his age, people who got married early already have several children. In his early years, his family was poor, and he couldn't afford to marry a wife. Later, he was busy with his studies and didn't care about this matter. After he came ashore, he was busy building his career, and it was a few years before he got married. Now, they have been married for only 3 months, and Shin Qingli has already received good news. What does this mean? It means that the descendants will prosper. Brother, congratulations, we are finally uncles. Su Yun was the first to congratulate him. It was great that he would be the fourth uncle in the future. The other brothers also congratulated Su Jing, including the seventh prince, who said frankly, Jingshu, go and get some good luck and good fortune. I want to be a father too. He is a modern man, and he doesn't think there is anything wrong with saying these words, but in the eyes of the ancients, they are very explicit. Lin Jingshu was so ashamed when she heard the words that she tugged at Murong Huai's sleeve with a coquettish look. Your Highness. Seeing how embarrassed his princess was, Murong Huai realized that his words were too blunt, and he had forgotten that this was ancient times. He quickly hid his mouth with his folding fan. Look at me. I got excited for a moment, don't mind me, but I still don't want to take back what I said. Everyone laughed when they heard this. The seventh prince's wife felt even more embarrassed and almost hid behind Murong Huai. Su Jing held his wife's hand tightly. His hands were shaking with excitement, and sweat was pouring out. His eyes were red with emotion. Qingli, you're not feeling well right now. Let's go back first and not go up the mountain, okay? Su Jing saw that she was not feeling well and was now pregnant, so he was particularly worried about her safety. They were still halfway up the mountain, and he was afraid that she would be tired. As a result, Shin Qingli shook her head. Now that we are here, at the feet of the Buddha, how can we give up halfway? Now that we are here, why don't we go up and pray for the safety of the child? But your body. Husband, I'm fine, just walk slowly. Shin Qingli insisted on going up. Su Jing had no choice but to look at Su Mu and ask for his opinion as a doctor. Su Mu received the message. Sister-in-law's pulse is very good, which means the baby is healthy. It's only about 1 month old now, so it's not obvious. The vomiting and poor appetite are all caused by morning sickness, which is normal. As long as you pay attention when going up the mountain and stop to rest for a while after walking for a while, there will be no problem. With the assurance from the young genius doctor, Su Jing finally felt relieved. Fortunately, they got out early in the morning, and the sun had just risen. Everyone was in no hurry and accompanied Shin Qingli slowly up the mountain. They arrived at Wanfu Temple. As soon as they came in, they smelled a strong scent of incense. Su Mu was still worried that it would be bad for the fetus if his sister-in-law smelled it too much, so he gave her a snuff bottle and asked her to smell it if she felt uncomfortable. Everyone goes early and returns early. After worshipping the Buddha, they donate money and go down the mountain. However, there is a marriage tree in Manpakuji Temple. It is said that if one writes one's name on a sign, ties it with red silk, and hangs it on the tree, the couple will be together forever. Su-won didn't believe this at first, but now that she met Jiangyu, she wanted to believe it. After worshipping the Buddha, everyone came to the marriage tree. Each bought a marriage card, wrote down each other's name, and then hung it on the tree. Su Chen also wrote. He wrote Jiaqing's name side by side with his own. Jiaqing's maiden name was Murongjia, and the emperor used her nickname to make the title. From childhood to adulthood, her family members called her Jia Jia, and others outside also called her by her title, so few people called her Murongjia. Su-yun had been following his third brother up the mountain. Now, seeing that his third brother was also writing this, he couldn't help but curl his lips and smack his lips. TSK, 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 these are so disgusting. As soon as he spoke, everyone turned to look at him. He felt embarrassed and lowered his head. Su-won couldn't help but joke. Fourth brother, you are jealous now. You are all alone. Why don't you go and ask for a marriage divination to see where your soulmate is? TSK, I don't ask for it. I don't have to worry about not being able to find a wife. He crossed his arms proudly. Although he said so, he still went to the marriage platform under the marriage tree to draw lots when no one was paying attention. Luo Shiju, on her part, was also hesitating whether to buy a brand. She secretly looked at Su-yi and found that Su-yi was not around, so she looked around. Who knew that in the next second, a mahogany plaque tied with red silk would appear in front of her. Luo Shiju looked back and saw Su-yi standing behind him. Do you have a crush? Do you want to write one? His smile is very warm, with half of his face dimples visible when he smiles, and his eyebrows and eyes are curved, which is very healing. Luo Shiju's heart skipped a beat. Her lips pursed slightly. She reached out to take the wooden sign. She turned around, and her face turned red. She felt a little difficulty breathing. What does Su-yi mean by this? He holds the marriage card and asks her if she has a lover. She walked to the corner alone, looked around before she started writing, as if she was afraid of being seen by others, and quickly wrote down 2 names, then hid the side with the words facing herself. Su-won had noticed her a long time ago. She and Jiangyu had already tied the wooden signs together. She was the first one to do so. When she had nothing to do, she would look for gossip everywhere. Jiangyu looked at her rolling eyes helplessly and thought, "You little girl are so busy every day." Sister Shiju, you wrote too? Who did you write about? Luo Shiju turned around and saw Su-won's gossipy smile. She bit her lower lip and was too embarrassed to say anything. She is the youngest in the group, but she is a little taller than all of them. Maybe because she is the youngest, she looks the most innocent. Su-won felt distressed when seeing such a pitiful look. Would you like me to put it up for you? Su-yi came over to rescue her. Luo Shiju wanted to show it to Su-won, but she was embarrassed, so she was hesitant. Su-yi understood her, so he came over to help her. Su-won had already seen through everything. She looked at her 5th brother and Luo Shiju with a meaningful smile. Alright then, alright, I won't watch it anymore, you guys go hang up now. She covered her eyes and turned around. Jiang Yujian touched her hair lovingly. But Su-won glared at him. Can you be gentler? Your hair is messed up. Jiang Yu withdrew his hand awkwardly, with helplessness on his face. Su-yi successfully got the sign. When he saw the name on it, he smiled knowingly and whispered in Luo Shiju's ear, "So it was him, I know." Su-yi was also a person who could tease people without being noticed. Luo Shiju was completely distracted by him. Su-yun sneaked up to the Taoist monk alone, took out a piece of silver, and said that he wanted to ask for a marriage fortune to see when his marriage would come. The Taoist monk handed him a bamboo tube filled with fortune sticks, all of which were about asking about marriage. In fact, Su-yun still wants to have a romantic relationship in his heart. He has everything now, except love. So, although I may sound arrogant, my heart and body are very honest. He picked up the bamboo tube and shook it, and a fortune stick fell on the table. He quickly picked it up and saw that it was an excellent fortune stick. The signature above reads, Shangji. The wind makes the bamboo sound. I thought it was the sound of a golden pendant. The moon moves the shadows of flowers. I thought it was the arrival of a beautiful lady. He couldn't understand what it meant, so he just saw the two words, Shangji. He showed the fortune slip to the Taoist monk, who smiled and said to Su-yun, Donor, your marriage is coming soon. Pay more attention to the people around you. The fortune stick says that your marriage is related to the night. When Su-yun heard this, he raised his eyebrows. Ask him to pay attention to the people around him? He is surrounded by his relatives, and the girls are all taken. Who is his destiny? Could it be the girls in Chunlu? And be the case. They usually respect him, and he doesn't like any of them. This is strange. Fourth brother, what does your marriage say? After Su-won gossiped about the fifth brother, she started gossiping about the fourth brother. Just as Su-yun turned around to leave, he suddenly heard her voice and looked guilty. Who is asking for a marriage? I'm just taking a look. Su-yun was still quibbling. The main thing is that he just said he didn't ask for anything, but he ended up coming here again and was caught red-handed. Wouldn't it be too embarrassing for him to admit it? Su-won knew that he would definitely quibble, so he looked directly at the Taoist monk behind him and asked, Master, may I ask what fortune my fourth brother asked for? Su-won directly asked the Zen master, who was reading the fortune sticks for him. Upon hearing what he said, the Zen master directly handed her the bamboo stick that had not yet been put back into the bamboo tube. Donor, this male donor's signature is here. Su-yun was shocked when he saw this. He turned around and tried to grab it, but Jiangyu was one step faster and had already got the signature. Hey, fourth brother, this is a very good sign. Good things are about to happen to you. Jiangyu immediately deciphered the meaning of the fortune, which made Su-yun feel awkward and his face turned red. Okay, Su-won, you're not even married yet, and you're teaming up with outsiders to bully me, right? Humph. Su-yun saw that he was exposed, so he just gave up and started blaming Jiangyu. Su-won read the signature first, then looked at Su-yun. Fourth brother, Jiangyu is not an outsider. We are a family now. Besides, you are old enough to marry a wife. What are you afraid of? Su-won didn't laugh at him. He was just curious. I am even more curious about what kind of girl can handle Su-yun's temper in the future. I'm not afraid. Oh, I won't talk to you anymore. I'm going to find my third brother. Seeing that he couldn't win the argument, Su-yun ran away. Su-won and Jiangyu smiled at each other. You cooperated well just now. Keep it up. She gave Jiangyu a thumbs up. Jiangyu chuckled, stretched out his hand to pinch her face, leaned over and said, Then do you want to reward me? He pointed to his lips shamelessly. Seeing this, Su-won slapped him on the chest, neither too hard nor too soft, like a kitten. Buddhism is a pure land. You are not allowed to think about these messy things. Okay, Jiangyu shrugged helplessly and followed her to find Xinqingli. My eldest brother and his wife prayed for a peace talisman for their unborn baby. It happened that there was a golden statue of Buddha there, and the abbot of the temple was also there, wearing a cassock and with Buddhist beads on his hands. Xinqingli just stood up, and Su-won came in. Brother and sister-in-law, are you done? Let's go down the mountain quickly. When the abbot heard Su-won talking, he raised his eyes and looked at her with a kind smile. When Su-won saw the abbot, she politely clasped her hands together and saluted him. The abbot returned her a Buddhist salute. Today, Su-won donated a total of 1,000 taels of incense money, so the abbot knew her. Madam, You have come from afar. You are a distinguished guest. Suwon was a little confused by the abbot's words. She came from far away? Kyoto doesn't seem far from here. The abbot saw Suwon's confused expression and laughed again. Female donor, when I say coming from afar, I mean your former hometown, and the male donor next to you is your destined partner. If you two do as I say, you may be able to have a lifetime of love. The abbot's explanation made Suwon's heart skip a beat. Her former hometown? Does it refer to Xiangzhou? But my elder brother and his friends are all from Xiangzhou, and the abbot never said this to them. Does that mean it refers to her former hometown in the 21st century? At this moment, Suwon looked at the abbot's kind face and suddenly felt that this world was very magical. There actually was such a divine person. Just by looking at her, he knew that she came from another world. Jiangyu's attention was all drawn to the love that would last for another life. He didn't believe in such weird things, but now that he had Suwon and someone told him that there was another life, he had to believe it. Master, what should we do?
Please let me know.
I will donate some money to Wanfu Temple afterwards. Even if it was just for a few words, Jiangyu was willing to spend a fortune. Who knew that the abbot just waved his hand? No need to donate anymore. You two have already donated a large sum of money. This opportunity today is my gift to you. If you want to have another life, you only need to go 100 years later. If one of you goes first, the other can follow. The place of eternal resting place will be the place where you two met. You can take each other's tokens and be buried together. Su Jing supported Shin Qingli and listened to the whole process. The abbot meant that if one of Jiangyu and Suwon died first, the other would commit suicide for love. The grave would be chosen at the place where they met, and the burial objects would have to include the tokens of love exchanged between the two. Su Jing felt very uncomfortable listening to this. He did not hope that one day, either Jiangyu or Suwon would commit suicide for the other. However, he had just established a good relationship with the abbot today. If he rashly refuted the abbot, he was afraid that this good relationship would be ruined and would affect the baby in Shin Qingli's belly. The abbot said this. Jiangyu and Suwon looked at each other. Suwon believed that if she died first in the future, Jiangyu would definitely follow her without hesitation. But if he was in his 70s or 80s, it would be fine, but what if he died young? She might not be able to do it to herself. Ugh, what is she thinking? Jiangyu will not die young. They will both live long lives. The two of them already had a tacit understanding, and they did not feel it was presumptuous for the abbot to say this. Jiangyu took the initiative to hold Suwon's hand and interlocked their fingers with hers, and they both bowed to the abbot. Thank you for your guidance, master. The four of them left the hall, and Su Jing said to them, just listen to what the abbot said, don't take it too seriously. Maybe it's because Su Jing only recognizes the marriage of this life, only looks at this life, and has no idea about the next life. If it were other people, they would just listen to this kind of thing, and few would take it seriously. Moreover, such love that lasts until death is extremely rare in this world. However, Suwon had to believe that this master had something on his mind, so what he said was still highly credible. Jiangyu believed it anyway, and he silently held Suwon's hand tightly. When they reached the bottom of the stairs, Suwon suddenly pulled her hand away because she wanted to go back and confirm. Jiangyu saw this and looked at her in confusion. What's wrong, Wanwan? Su Jing and Shin Qingli also looked at her in confusion. I still have something to ask the abbot. Wait here for me, and don't follow me. Suwon said this and ran back holding up her skirt. Although they didn't know what was wrong with Suwon and what she wanted to ask, they naturally respected all her decisions. Jiangyu knew that Suwon had a secret that could not be told to anyone, but he was willing to protect her and her secret. The three of them were waiting below, and no one followed. The abbot seemed to know that Suwon would come back, so he had been waiting in the hall. Suwon ran up, breathing slightly, and the abbot was looking at her kindly. What else do you want to ask? Suwon calmed down and saluted him. Master, I want to know more clearly. Do you know where I come from? You come from another world, just like His Royal Highness the Seventh Prince, right? The master said directly. Did the Seventh Prince tell you? Suwon did not rule out this possibility. I calculated it myself. If you don't believe me, I can tell you that I know what the tokens of love you and the male donor just exchanged were. You gave him a gold ring, and he gave you a jade pendant. Your fate began in a land temple in Xiangzhou, right? Su-won was shocked again. If all these could be traced, he even told the details, such as the ring was made of gold, and they met in a land temple. Her fate with Jiang Yu indeed originated from the land temple in Yangao. If she hadn't saved him in the temple, how could they be where they are today? Su-won clasped his hands together and looked at the master devoutly. She just needed to confirm this point and had no other questions. She also thought it would not be good to ask too clearly, as the secret could not be revealed. Master, I understand. Thank you for telling me. Donor, don't get stuck in a rut. Just let things take their own course. You will live a long and prosperous life. The master added this sentence before she left. What does this mean? Is he telling himself that he can live a long time? She didn't know why, but after hearing these words, the haze in her heart was swept away. She realized that she was indeed a vulgar person. When she heard that he would live a long and prosperous life, Jiang Yu and his elder brother and sister-in-law were still standing downstairs waiting for her. Su-won looked worried when he went up, but was smiling when he came down. It seemed that he got a satisfactory result.
Let's go down the mountain.
The sun is getting brighter. Everyone tacitly agreed not to ask anything. Su Jing used his hands to shield Shin Qingli from the sunlight and took good care of her. Sun Linger and the others were waiting at the temple entrance, holding an umbrella in their hands. She gave the umbrella directly to her eldest brother. I'll ask the monks in the temple to change it. Use it to block the sun for my sister-in-law. Don't let her get a heat stroke. She is very considerate. Now that Shin Qingli is pregnant, she is the most precious among all people, and everyone puts her first.
Thank you, Linger.
Just needing an umbrella. Su Jing didn't hesitate. You're welcome, big brother. Sun Linger said with a smile. The group then went back down the mountain together. They all chose not to walk too fast and walked slowly with Shin Qingli. It was not difficult to get down the mountain. Jiang Yu walked at the end, holding Su-won's hand. When he saw that everyone had walked to the front, he spoke to Su-won. Wan, what the abbot said just now, I want to tell you, if I die first in the future, you don't have to follow me. I can't bear to let you go. Even if you and I are already in our 70s or 80s, I still can't bear to let you go. I believe that even if we don't die together, we can still have the next life. Su-won burst out laughing when he heard this. I'm already in my 70s and 80s, and I'm tired of living. Why would I cling to those 2 years? If she had lived to that point, she would have been tired of living. She didn't care about the remaining 2 years. Besides, I think that since you are a martial artist, your physique must be much better than mine. If we have to leave, I will leave first. I am afraid that you will be reluctant to accompany me. Don't talk nonsense. We all want to live a long life. He put his hand on her lips. Even if that day comes, I will go with you without hesitation, because I still want to spend the next life, and the next life, with you.
So one smile, a happy smile.
After returning to Kyoto from Manpokuji Temple, Su Jing immediately informed his father, mother, and the Grand Secretary's mansion of the good news of Shin Qingli's pregnancy. Of the 2 mansions were overjoyed, and the next day, Mrs. Shun, the Grand Secretary, came to the Su mansion to visit Shin Qingli. If the Grand Secretary hadn't stopped her, Mrs. Shun would have come over last night. Shin Qingli's pregnancy is a great joyous event for the whole mansion. Su's mother decided to let Shin Qingli take good care of the baby and let her learn to take care of the household affairs. She has nothing to worry about as Su-won and Sun Linger will help her. The Su family has had many happy events in the past 2 months, and Prince Yang's mansion is no longer in a hurry to tell His Majesty about the marriage. They have to wait until at least after September. However, bad news kept coming out of the East Palace, saying that the Crown Prince would not live long. Prince Xiang was also anxious, fearing that by the time the country came to a state of mourning, they, the royal family, would not be able to hold weddings for a year. It's not that he is guilty of treason, but the prince's health is indeed useless, which is something everyone knows. So this year, there are many happy events in Kyoto, and almost every household is holding them for fear that they will be late and miss out on their children's marriage. Now that the princes have all had their princesses appointed, it is time for His Majesty to confer upon them the title of king. The second Prince Morongfu was given the title of Prince of Yong, the third Prince Morong Rui was given the title of Prince of Xian, the fourth Prince Morong Ting was given the title of Prince of Qi, the fifth Prince Morong Sheng was given the title of Prince of Jin, the sixth Prince Morong Qi was given the title of Prince of Chu, and the seventh Prince Morong Huai was given the title of Prince of Sun. As can be seen from the titles, the third prince was the queen's legitimate son and was given the character Xian, to give face to the queen and the crown prince. Among the other princes, only the seventh prince was given the title Sun, which is bordered with the character Wang, which shows the emperor's importance and preference for him. The emperor's intentions could be vaguely seen in the crowning of the king this time, and the situation in Kyoto changed slightly for a while. Morong Huai was pushed to the forefront in an instant, and the other princes were all hostile to him and regarded him as the first stumbling block in the fight for the throne. Regarding the corruption case, although Morong Sheng received strong support from the Ministry of Revenue, Zhang Yu also activated the Fengyue Villa's intelligence network to help Morong Huai. The Ministry of Revenue has the authority, but outside of Kyoto, the Fengyue Villa's intelligence network has the final say. The two sides have been evenly matched and in a stalemate, and it is unknown who will win in the end. Each prince has been given a mansion and hung a plaque of the royal palace. Guyu entered the Prince of Jin's mansion as a concubine. It is said that on the night of his wedding with Xiao Hui, Morongxing stayed in the study and never visited the Princess of Jin again. Until Guyu entered the mansion, he doted on Guyu alone and gave her the same standards and status as a princess. Xiao Hui felt that her dignity was trampled upon. She didn't expect Morong Sheng to treat her like this. I thought it was okay for him to be a little cold after marriage, but I should always give myself some chances. I didn't expect him to be so unsympathetic. She went back to tell her father, but her father told her to have a broader vision. As long as she remained firmly in the position of principal wife, when the Prince of Jin ascended the throne in the future, she would be the empress who ruled the country. Wouldn't she be able to deal with the concubine by then? This made Xiao Hui feel much better. However, even if she became the queen, it would be difficult for her to survive long-term without offspring. Morongxing didn't even touch her. What should she do? Her father told her to wait for an opportunity. Guyu entered Prince Jin's mansion and felt much better after seeing Morongxing's attitude towards her. Morongxing directly exempted her from the etiquette and told her that she didn't have to go to pay a visit to the princess every day. He also told the people in the two courtyards not to disturb each other. In this way, the two sides will not meet each other, and a lot of jealousy can be avoided. Although Guyu did not have the position of the main wife, she had won the absolute favor of Morongxing. As for whether this could continue in the future, it depended on her. She also knew that her position was precarious, so she had only one idea in her mind: to give birth to Morongxing's first child and keep Xiao Hui under her feet. In the Chu Palace and the Sun Palace was not so complicated. On the surface, the wives and concubines got along very harmoniously, but it was unknown what was going on behind the scenes. Morong Huai only met Lin Jingshu. They were very loving after marriage. After the two concubines entered the mansion, he also gave them face and visited them, but did not let them stay overnight. Time quickly came to August. Xin Qingli's morning sickness became more severe, and she had a strong craving for sour food. Su Wan went to Qionyang to ask her where the sour apricot and plum cakes came from and bought a bunch of them to satisfy Xin Qingli's craving. After Su Jing finished his official duties at the Ministry of Personnel every day, he would rush home to be with his wife. Su's mother spent the whole day preparing nourishing soups and drinks for Xin Qingli. But Xin Qingli couldn't eat it all. She vomited everything she ate. It was really painful. Middle of the month, we had guests at home. My uncle's family, as well as my cousin Yang Qingqing and her husband, also came. This made Su's mother very happy. She invited them into her house and arranged for them to live. After getting to know them, she found out that when Su Wan's wedding date was set, he sent them a letter to announce the good news. My uncle thought that since it was Su Wan's wedding, he had to come and attend it no matter what. If it weren't for his niece, he might still be farming in the countryside. How could he have such a good life now? Now they have a big house to live in, nice clothes to wear, servants to serve them, and enough savings. They have all this because Soo-won took care of them. Before, because he didn't have enough time, so he had to come to Soo-won's wedding this time no matter what. Soo-moo was also getting married in the same month, so they had a drink together before leaving. About the arrival of their uncle's family, and Yang Qingqing also brought her son along. When my uncle and aunt saw this huge mansion, which was decorated in a rich and elegant style, and was more than twice the size of the house in Xiangzhou, and saw that every member of the Su family was dressed luxuriously, they knew only by seeing it with their own eyes that my sister's family had really made it and became a superior person that they could not reach. The Su family has also gotten rid of their status as peasants. From then on, they have become a family of scholars, officials, farmers, merchants, and artisans. They are at the forefront and are the most respected. Moreover, they heard that their elder sister was granted an imperial decree, and Soo-won was even granted the title of princess. They were extremely noble, so they had to bow to them when they saw them. As soon as Soo-won arrived, they all bowed to her. "Greetings, Madam Princess." Soo-won was also helpless when he saw this. "Uncle, Aunt, why do you have to be like this? We are all family here, and there are no outsiders. Why are you going through all this nonsense? That won't work. You are the princess, and this is the first time we meet the princess. We have to be polite." The uncle was very proud. When he returned to Xiangzhou, he could tell others that his eldest nephew was the Minister of Personnel, his second nephew was a miracle doctor, his third nephew was a general, his fourth nephew was the owner of the most popular restaurant in Kyoto, and his fifth nephew was Wuyang Jusher, who was personally appointed by the emperor and was the royal painter. The youngest niece is even more extraordinary. She was personally conferred the title of princess by the emperor. If he said this, no one would dare to look down on him in Xiangzhou in the future. The smoke coming out of the ancestral grave is just like this. Seeing her uncle laughing so hard that he couldn't stop, Soo-won felt it was not good to always spoil his fun. His uncle's family had come from afar. Soo-yun suggested that the whole family go to Chunglu for dinner today. After dinner, he would take his uncle and his family to watch a play in the largest theater in Kyoto. In the next few days, I have to take them around Kyoto and have some fun. It's so hard to come here this time, and I don't know when I will be able to come again next time. Unless my cousin's husband passes the imperial examination and is appointed an official, they may be able to move to Kyoto and reunite with my sister's family. Failing the exam this time made Ji-run's work harder at home. He studied hard every day and almost forgot to eat and sleep. Yang Qingqing was heartbroken. He worked so hard every day and didn't dare to waste even a moment. She could only give him the greatest support and help within her ability to help him take care of his son, his father, and the house. In the evening, Soo-won's family took his uncle and his family to Chunglu. Even the one box was full, and everyone had to squeeze together at such a big round table. Soo-yun served all the dishes that could be served. A menu was drawn up for the tea and snacks before meals and the desserts after meals, and all of them were prepared by the kitchen. Kyoto Chunglu is much more prosperous than Xiangzhou Chunglu, and it can be said that it is even more prosperous than Yumengsala. As soon as they entered, a special maid came to make tea, pour tea, and wipe their hands with hot towels. When they were eating, they were even served the food. Each of them was strictly trained and had a standard smile on their face. They could be said to be the ceiling of the service industry. Many dignitaries who want to host banquets have to reserve the private rooms at Chunglu several times in advance. Basically, it is fully booked every day, both at noon and in the evening. Not only is the dine-in business good, the delivery business is also quite popular. In a few days, it will be concubine Chen's birthday, and Soo-yun will have to personally lead his team to the palace to prepare a banquet for the empress. Only princes and nobles were invited to concubine Chen's birthday party this time, and the officials' wives did not have to go. Soo-won is a princess, so naturally she cannot be absent. Anyone who comes to Kyoto for the first time will be shocked by its prosperity. No matter what you see, It is new and beautiful. It is really dazzling. Sue's mother gave the task of taking her uncle and others to visit Kyoto to Soo-won and Soo-moo, the most relaxed ones in the family. The rest of the brothers either have official duties to attend to or have a lot of social engagements and business to take care of. Less than 2 days later, Jong-yu's grandfather also arrived in Kyoto. His grandson was getting married, so he risked his old bones to come to Kyoto to watch the two children get married. Only then would his life be complete. Jong-yu already knew that he was coming, so he brought people to meet him at the city gate in advance. My grandfather had been traveling all the way, so Jong-yu took him directly to the Duke's mansion. The wedding will be held at the Duke's mansion, and there is only a little over half a month left. My grandfather had heard about what Duke Jong had done, and considering how much he had sacrificed for the children, he reluctantly agreed to live under the same roof with him. Because of his daughter's affairs, he has been unwilling to acknowledge him as a son-in-law. Over the years, there has been no contact between the two sides. If Jong-yu had not been getting married this time, he would probably never see him again in his life. When Duke Jong heard that his father-in-law was coming, he was actually a little nervous. Although he was old, the pressure from Mount Tai was still great. Because he felt guilty toward Shinro and Jong-yu, he had no face to face his father-in-law. My grandfather had made it clear before he came. He said that if he wanted to live in the Duke's mansion, he hoped that the woman would not appear in front of him. He was afraid that she would not be able to control herself and do something bad. If it wasn't for Ningwei, who used some trickery to get pregnant, showed off in front of Shinro, and tried every way to make her angry, how could Shinro have damaged her liver due to extreme joy and sorrow, causing irreversible consequences? Therefore, Ningwei must never appear in front of him. If he sees her, he will not be able to help but start a killing spree. He didn't want to do anything unlucky on Jong-yu's good day. Therefore, before he arrived, Duke Jong ordered Ningwei to stay in her own yard and not to wander around. Ningwei also heard that Jongjin was coming and was so scared that she didn't dare to leave the yard. I still remember that year when Jiang Shinro passed away. Jongjin came from Zhengzhou, full of murderous intent. It rained heavily that night. She and Jiang Yan, who was just 2 years old, almost died under his knife. If the old lady hadn't stopped her, she would have been dead. Therefore, the shadow she had on Jongjin was very huge, and she still breaks out in a cold sweat when she thinks about it now. Jiang Yan was not that scared, and Jongjin did not have much resentment towards the child. Everything was Jiang Shinro's fault, and the innocent child should not be harmed. As long as he did not make trouble in front of him, he could tolerate it. Jiang Yu and Duke Jiang went to pick up Jongjin. When Jongjin saw him for the first time, he called out respectfully, "Father-in-law." "Humph." Jongjin saw him and snorted coldly with a stern face. Compared with the previous tense situation, this attitude is considered to be a good one. In the Duke's mansion, the atmosphere at the dinner table was very serious. No one in the group spoke, and Jong-yu didn't know what to say to ease the situation. Everyone ate quietly, and Jongjin was the first to speak. "Ayu, I haven't seen Sue girl for a long time. When will you bring her to see me?" In previous years, Soo-won would go to Fongyua Villa to see the old man and also take the opportunity to escape the summer heat in the mountains. "I'll find time to pick her up, but she's been a bit busy lately. There are guests to entertain at home, and my sister-in-law is pregnant, so she has to take care of the household. In 2 days, she has to attend the birthday banquet of concubine Chen. If you want to see her, you'll probably have to wait a few days." "Oh, that's okay. Let her finish her work first. There's no rush." Jongjin nodded with a smile. When it comes to Soo-won, a smile appears on his face. The meal was completed peacefully. Duke Jiang did not say a word the entire time. In front of Jongjin, he completely lost his usual dignity. As the saying goes, everything can conquer something else. This is just the case. Hearing that the old sect master had arrived, Jong Yunha moved out of the Su family overnight and went to the Duke's mansion to accompany his master to relieve his boredom. The kid Su Chun is so busy that he is nowhere to be seen every day. At the Su mansion, he can only play with Su's father every day. Nowadays, Sue's father is proficient in fishing, chess, tea tasting, and gardening. Father Sue was also enjoying it. He was a layman who knew nothing and had nothing in common with the gentleman in Kyoto. He felt embarrassed every time there were guests at home. Now, he was enjoying it as he had learned from Master Jiang. Mother Sue couldn't tell what she felt when she saw the change in Father Sue. Every time she saw him drinking tea in such a formal manner, she looked more like a bumpkin. Concubine Chen's birthday, Su Yun asked Su Wan to accompany him to the palace to make preparations in advance. He brought his team and the female dessert chef with him. He had never been to the palace before and was afraid that he didn't know the rules and might break the rules, so he asked Su Wan to accompany him so that he would feel more at ease. That afternoon, Zhang Yu made an appointment with Su Wan to have dinner together at Qinglu. The two walked into Qinglu side by side, but there was no sign of Su Yun. Otherwise, he usually stands at the counter and counts on the abacus. The guy said he was learning how to make desserts with Chef Yu in the kitchen. Su Yun still lacks experience in desserts and pastries. Now that there is a ready-made master, he follows the principle of learning throughout his life and learns to make desserts. Su Wan was curious about the true appearance of Master Yu, and this surname was very rare. She heard that she was a 17-year-old girl with a miserable life, so she wanted to go and take a look. Holding Jiang Yu's hand, the two appeared at the door of the back kitchen. They saw that everyone was busy in the kitchen. The aroma of various foods wafted in the air, making people salivate. After looking around, I found fourth brother in a remote corner. He was wearing a white apron and his hair was tied up with a white cloth cap. There was a woman next to him who was only as tall as his shoulders. Looking at her back, she has a slender figure, and the apron straps are tied into a beautiful bow around her waist, making her waist look slender. TSK, that's not the case. I've told you several times to use warm water first, and then add sugar water. Why can't you remember? The woman suddenly spoke with a serious tone and a feeling of disappointment. You clearly only said it once, okay? How come it was several times? More than once. Just once. I am the master, and you're the master? Am I the boss or are you?
How can you talk to the boss like that?
Su Yun protested, then put his hands on his hips with his nostrils widened. The two of them suddenly started arguing, and neither of them gave in. But as long as I am your master, and you are my disciple, you have to listen to me. Su Yun was choked by her words and didn't know how to refute. He glared for a long time with his nose wide open, like an angry bull in a cartoon. But in the end, he still lost his temper. Forget it. Who makes her a master? Who makes her a woman? A good man doesn't fight with a woman. He threw out this sentence and continued to knead the dough. Wow. This is the first time Su Wan saw fourth brother fail to win a verbal battle against anyone other than her and fifth brother. Su Wan never saw the true face of Master Yu. The two of them argued from time to time, and Su Yun always lost the argument. Su Wan saw that it was not easy to disrupt their atmosphere and study spirit, so he took Zhang Yu to eat. After asking, I found out that Master Yu's real name was Yu Inshuang. What a meaningful name. Judging from the name, Master Yu's family is also very knowledgeable. Do we have the surname Yu in our Jin country? This surname is relatively rare in modern times, so Su Wan asked Zhang Yu. Zhang Yu rarely heard of the surname, but it was not unknown. Yes, this Yu family should be a pastry family from Yinzhou. I used to go to Yinzhou with my grandfather. I vaguely remember this family. If nothing unexpected happens, this Master Yu should be a descendant of the Yu family. I don't know what happened in the past 2 years, and he has fallen to this point. Zhang Yu is indeed well-read and knowledgeable. It is no joke that he has been traveling around the country with his grandfather since he was a child. Su Wan nodded in understanding. She remembered the words on the signature, which said that fourth brother would be getting married soon. Now it seems that the person he is involved with and in contact with is this Master Yu. She wondered if the two of them could spark a romance? From the scene just now, she can really control fourth brother. Fourth brother is a naughty boy. He needs someone to keep him under control. Halfway through the meal, Su Yun heard the waiter say that Su Wan had arrived, and then he came out of the kitchen. I heard that she saw everything. That's great. Bring you In Shuang to meet Suwon. You came without even saying hello? I saw that you were busy, so I didn't want to disturb you. Suwon stood up when he saw that he had brought someone in. That's perfect. Let me introduce you. This is my new master. I've been learning dessert and pastry making from her recently. Her name is Yu Inshuang. This is my sister Suwon and the Prince of Jiang, my future brother-in-law. When Suyin introduced Jiang Yu as his future brother-in-law, he seemed a little reluctant and spoke vaguely. But Jiang Yu felt very happy after hearing it. It was great. He liked this identity the most. Xuanla's husband, the Su family's son-in-law, and their future brother-in-law. Yu Inshuang stood there and nodded obediently, without any trace of the fierce look she had just shown with Su Yun. It was also the first time that Suwon saw her appearance clearly. She had a pair of beautiful almond-shaped eyes with black and watery pupils. They were a very pure pair of eyes. She has fair skin, 2 big dimples when she smiles, and plump petal-shaped lips. She is a typical beauty, with a dark complexion. But she looks too thin. It would look better if she could gain some weight. Suwon looked at her and suddenly had an urge to feed her, wanting to feed her until she was plump and white. You are Princess Xuanla. I have heard of your deeds. When Yu Inshuang saw Suwon, her eyes shone with a light of admiration. Master Yu, I've heard that you are a first-rate baker and dessert chef. Today I finally get to meet you in person. First met, Suwon was still very polite. My story is nothing. On the contrary, it's you, princess. The Yuyan Hall you run is very popular. In our Yunzhou, every household uses it. I didn't know until I left Yunzhou and went all the way north that the Yuyan Hall was actually opened all over Jin State. When I first came to Kyoto, I heard from them that you donated the Yuyan Hall to the court and used your private property to subsidize the military and civilians. You are such a good person. I heard that you are only 1 year older than me. You are really amazing. I really admire you. Yu Inshuang looked at Suwon with fiery eyes and said a lot of things, all praising Suwon. Suwon was embarrassed by her. Oh, how can you be as good as you say? You are also very good. You can make so many exquisite and delicious desserts. The 2 girls were exchanging pleasantries while Jiang Yu and Su Yun could only sit aside and wait obediently. Spending some time together, Suwon discovered that Yu Inshuang was really good at chatting. Just like her 4th brother, she could talk a lot about topics that interested her. But it also shows that she is a simple-minded person with a straightforward temper. Suwon likes this kind of lively personality. There will never be a dull moment wherever he goes. Moreover, talking and chatting with Yu Inshuang is especially enjoyable while eating. I originally thought that since she had such a difficult experience, she must be very calm and reserved, but I didn't expect that she was actually a funny girl. But this is also good. Difficulties and setbacks will not be reasons to crush a person. Only by being heartless can you live without fatigue. Concubine Chen's birthday, Suwon followed Su Yun into the palace, accompanied by several chefs from the kitchen and Yu Inshuang. They all brought their own stuff and were fully prepared to face this challenge. Those who come to the birthday banquet are the wives of princes and nobles. At that time, the princesses and concubines of several princes will come. Taking this opportunity, the newly appointed princesses and concubines will also get together. By then, Guyu might also be there. The palace arranged a small palace for Su Yun and his party to temporarily reside, named Linglong Pavilion. It happened to be very close to the imperial kitchen, making it very convenient for them to do their work. Because it was the emperor who asked them to come to the palace this time, the chef specially arranged a separate stove for them to use, with all the pots, pans, and utensils available. They could also order the palace maids working there at will. At best, Suwon came along, but he didn't have to do anything and just stayed in Linglong Pavilion until the next day. Concubine Chen's birthday, people enjoyed the flowers and drank tea in her palace in the morning. The snacks and fruits that went with the tea were all prepared by Su Yun and others. The lunch banquet is a full meal, and the basic configuration is 8 dishes and a soup, 2 of which are required to be vegetarian, plus an after-meal dessert. In the afternoon, there will be an opera troupe performing. The pastries eaten while listening to the opera are different from those in the morning. Anyway, Su-yun will be in charge of the arrangements for the whole day. The morning, Su-won arrived early because he was already in the palace. The first to arrive was Morong-hwai, who brought his princess consort with him. After him came the ladies from various palaces and finally the princesses and daughters of the princes. As expected, Guyu came. She came with Zhao Hui. Morong-sheng did not come. None of the princes came except Morong-hwai, because she was not their biological mother, so it would be enough for the princess to go. Each prince's palace only brought one concubine, and the one brought by Prince Jin's palace was Guyu. Not surprisingly, Su-won bumped into her, and she was standing next to Zhao Hui. Zhao Hui was dressed like a queen, graceful and elegant. She was mainly fresh and elegant, but her hair was all tied up into a bun. Su-won bumped into them face to face. Seeing Zhao Hui, she saluted politely. "Meet Princess Jean." When Zhao Hui saw Su-won, she smiled with disdain. Now she was on Prince Sun's side, which was the opposite of Prince Jin's mansion, so naturally her attitude could not be good. As for Guyu, she felt very uncomfortable when she saw Su-won. She had boasted in front of others with great confidence before, but was badly slapped in the face later. As a result, she felt completely ashamed when she saw Su-won now. She tried not to speak and to reduce her presence. But Su-won couldn't pretend not to see her. "Concubine Gu, are you doing well lately?" Now, neither of them needs to bow to the other, as they are on equal terms. However, Guyu is a concubine, and to put it more clearly, she is still not as noble as Su-won. Guyu forced a very stiff smile. "I'm fine. The prince treats me very well. Thank you for your concern, princess." She deliberately said that the prince was very good to her, but no one knew what she wanted to express. When Zhao Hui heard this, her expression dropped and she rolled her eyes without any concealment. What is this little witch so proud of? Nothing lasts forever. Let's see how long she can be so proud. Su-won looked at Zhao Hui's explosive smell and thought that it would be better to stay away from her so as not to be affected by the overt and covert war. In the original novel, Guyu was loved by her brothers and favored by the Duke of Zhong's mansion. It was legitimate for her to become the queen. But now, everything has changed. She is suppressed by Zhao Hui, and her life in the palace must not be easy. It is true that only those who drink the water know whether it is hot or cold. If she hadn't traveled through time, Guyu's life would still be smooth sailing.
But there was no way.
Now that she was here, she couldn't follow the ending or the original script. Otherwise, she would have been dead by now. If a man does not work for himself, he will be punished by heaven and earth. This is an eternal truth. The banquet started at noon. The emperor came specially to eat with concubine Chen and celebrate her birthday. Throughout the day, Su-yun arranged everything perfectly and clearly, and no one could find any fault with it. Moreover, the dishes were really delicious, and everyone's attention was on the food. No matter whether it was the dishes or the snacks and desserts, everyone ate them all up. When the royal family eat, they believe in not eating more than 3 servings, that is, they only eat 3 chopsticks of a dish. Su-yun knows this principle, so the dishes are mainly exquisite and the portions are not large. There are 2 people at a table, so each person only has a few chopsticks of food. The banquet, everyone was very satisfied. They were all planning to invite Chenglu to host their own birthday parties. They just didn't know how much money it would cost, but it had to be grand. Chenglu pursues the high-end consumption route, and the prices of dishes are higher than those of ordinary places. Nowadays, Chenglu's customers are all great scholars, and they have no ordinary people among them. They have truly integrated into the upper-class circle. The emperor saw that concubine Chen was happy. He generously rewarded Su-yun with many rare treasures, and even personally inscribed a plaque with 5 large characters, the #1 building in the world. The emperor's handwriting was also quite impressive, with vigorous and powerful strokes and a steady and majestic tone. Make it into a gold-plated plaque and hang it in the lobby of Chenglu. It will be a living signboard. When the reward came down, Su-yun looked at the calligraphy and felt very proud, feeling that his career had come to a complete success. Su-won looked at this scene and thought that this was the point of the story. The fourth brother still got the honor of being the best restaurant in the world granted by the emperor as in the original book, and the degree of honor was far beyond the original book. From mid-August to the end of September, Jiangyu disappeared. For half a month, he had been accompanying Morong Huai to investigate a corruption case. The corruption case was nearing its end. The evidence held by Morong Huai and Morong Sheng was similar, and they had caught nearly 20 corrupt officials in total. From the second and third rank officials in the capital to the sixth and seventh rank officials sent to other places, all of them had solid evidence, and the real money seized from the mansions, the total amount of embezzled money seized from both sides, amounted to as much as 350,000 taels. These 350,000 taels are more than enough to support an army of 70,000 to 80,000 people. The emperor was furious and imprisoned these officials and their families according to the charges. For a while, the cells in the Ministry of Justice and the Dali Temple were almost insufficient. They will be charged according to the amount of silver they have embezzled. Those who deserve to have their property confiscated will have their property confiscated, and those who deserve to be exiled will be exiled. No one will be able to escape. This time, Morong Sheng and Morong Huai were evenly matched and ended in a draw. The emperor also saw their abilities and praised both of them. For a moment, it was hard to tell which prince the emperor appreciated more. The main thing is that the emperor promoted concubine Shu to noble concubine and concubine Chen to imperial noble concubine. Not only did he make things fair, he also promoted some concubines of lower ranks to higher ranks. Su Jiaoyi was on the promotion list this time. She was promoted to the position of concubine and given the title of Zhuang. From then on, she was Empress Zhuang. Although she was a concubine, she was not among the 4 concubines and was still 1 rank lower than Guishu Dexian. But you should be content. Even if the emperor dies in the future, you can still be a concubine after all. Jiangyu returned to Kyoto. There were only 7 days left before his wedding with Suwan. Although he had said goodbye before leaving, he was still afraid that Suwan would mind as he was away for half a month before the wedding. In fact, Suwan didn't mind at all. She had important things to do, so why should she mind? It just so happened that the two were not allowed to meet before marriage, so she just had to stay quiet and wait for marriage at home. The Su family became busy again, preparing Suwan's dowry and the wedding banquet the day before the wedding. All of this was arranged by Su's mother and son Linger. Luo Shizhu followed her teacher to learn housekeeping and various banquet arrangements since she was a child. For a lady from a wealthy family, this is a must-have skill. She lived in the Su mansion and wanted to contribute something, so she took the initiative to help Su's mother arrange Suwan's wedding. Su's mother agreed very calmly. It was okay for her to help take care of the matter now. In the future, Qingli would have an extra helper. Luo Shizhu naturally didn't know what Su's mother was planning. If she knew, she would be embarrassed again. Regarding Suwan's dowry, the eldest brother was an honest man and had just married Shin Qingli not long ago. The couple did not have much private accounts, and finally Shin Qingli took out her own dowry and added a dowry worth 50,000 taels to Suwan. Su Mu had saved up some assets while practicing medicine over the years. Apart from the betrothal gift for Sunlinger, he gave Suwan everything he could. Although it wasn't much, it was the thought that mattered. There is no need to say more about Su Qin. As a military general, all the rewards he received were included in the public account. Together with the things he had on him, which amounted to nearly 30,000 taels, he asked Su's mother to add them all to Suwan's dowry and did not leave any money for himself to be his wife. Su Yun was a businessman and had no shortage of money. From the profits of the 2 Chunglu buildings, apart from the half that was originally supposed to be given to Suwan and the taxes paid to the court, he had saved up about 70,000 to 80,000 taels of silver for himself, and he directly gave 50,000 taels of silver to Suwan.
Finally, there is Su Yi.
He is now a famous scholar. Any of his paintings can be sold for thousands of taels. He took out his own savings and gave Suwan an additional 35,000 taels of dowry. With the betrothal gifts given by Jiangyu, plus the dowry given by her brothers, Suwan could definitely call it a 10-mile red wedding. Several brothers, adding up to nearly 200,000 taels, was too scary. She doesn't even need to bring her own extra assets. Otherwise, it would be too conspicuous, right? The dowry had all been counted and packed, but Suwon still felt that it was too high-profile, so she suggested reducing Jong-Yu's betrothal gift by half, temporarily moving it to the mansion next door, and only bringing half to marry into the Duke's mansion. She didn't want to cause public outcry because of the large dowry. Su Jing thought so too. Bringing so much with him would indeed attract too much attention. It would be better to just take half of it. Together with what his brothers had prepared, there would be a total of 199 loads of dowry. Even this is considered very grand among all the families in Kyoto that marry off their daughters. Anyway, they wouldn't covet Wanwan's property, as it was all left for her. Finally, according to Suwon's idea, half of the betrothal gifts brought by Jong-yu were placed in the mansion next door. When the time comes for the wedding, she only needs to take away the gifts prepared by her brothers and half of the betrothal gifts. Suwon returned to the yard later, only to find that Jong-yu suddenly appeared on her swing. Every time at this time, Lu-yun and Lu-ying would consciously step back, leaving the space for the two of them to be alone. "Why are you here? Didn't you say that we can't see each other for half a month before the wedding?" Suwon stood in front of him and looked at him puzzledly. When Jong-yu saw her coming, he stood up and held her in his arms without saying anything. He lowered his head and greedily sniffed the fragrance of her hair. "But I haven't seen you for more than half a month, and I miss you very much." His tone sounded aggrieved, which made Suwon's heart soften in an instant. She patted his back, as if soothing a puppy. "Okay, then we'll meet tonight, and we'll have to wait until the wedding to see each other again." Jong-yu couldn't help but chuckle when he heard this. When did this girl become so superstitious that she actually cared about these things? "I don't care about the rules. I want you to see me." Jong-yu's words actually sounded like a domineering CEO. Suwon was stunned for a moment and thought, "Is Mustard handsome?" As a result, while she was still in a daze, a big hand grabbed the back of her head. The familiar scent had already enveloped her, and the lips felt warm and soft. Jong-yu's kiss was very gentle and long. After a long time, he left her lips, his eyes turned red, and Suwon's eyes became watery. Her lips were a little swollen from being sucked, making her look even more attractive. The swing now has a backrest to prevent her from accidentally falling. The two of them sat quietly together on the swing, swinging slightly in the evening breeze. The closer it got to the wedding date, the more Jong-yu felt that everything was unreal. If it weren't for the real existence of the people around him, he would almost think he was having a beautiful dream. "What should I do if I wake up from the dream?" He suddenly raised his hand, and the peculiarly shaped gold ring was still on his hand, as if it was tailor-made for him. If it wasn't for the fact that it was to protect him from disaster, a corner would have been missing. But it's not a big deal. It has long replaced the original jade ring and become a part of his body. Suwon leaned against him. Perhaps it was too quiet, and she gradually felt sleepy. She closed her eyes without any scruples. When she opened her eyes again, it was already the next morning. This sleep was so comfortable, I had no dreams all night and felt refreshed. It was as if seeing Jong-yu last night was just a dream. 8th day of September. Many guests came to the Su mansion. Many unmarried daughters of wealthy families came on their own to accompany Suwon, and Jia also came. They will stay until tomorrow, until Suwon is married. Today is her daughter's wedding banquet, and the house is particularly lively. The girls are all staying in her yard to chat with her. The girls get together. Everyone chatters about clothes, jewelry, rouge, and other things that girls like. Sure enough, no matter what time it is, girls are only interested in clothes, shoes, and cosmetics. Everyone has a love for beauty, and shopping is not a disease at all for girls. It is rare to see the ladies being so friendly, and the reason is simple. In the past, they loved to compete, and that was because there was something to compete for, so everyone liked to bicker and play tricks. But now, all the high-quality men in Kyoto are already taken. For example, several princes have been crowned kings and have princesses and concubines. Jong-yu and Suwon are now a couple, so there is nothing to fight over. Anyway, from now on, everyone will be a good girl, each betrothed to a man, and no one will get close to anyone else, so naturally, Everyone will be in harmony. Jiaqing had sent the kittens over a few days ago. Suwon built a temporary nest for them and asked the secret guard to notify Jiangyu to provide a comfortable nest for her 2 cats in the Duke's mansion. Jiangyu received the news and immediately asked someone to vacate a room in his yard. He also asked Princess Jiaqing how to arrange the cat room, what do cats usually eat, and how many people should be assigned to clean up the cat room. Jiaqing told his people everything he knew, and Jiangyu prepared everything according to the highest standards, waiting for the cat to move in. Once Jiangyu falls in love with someone and cares about him, he will respond to everything and have a solution for everything. The day before the wedding, the Su mansion was bustling with activity, and the Duke's mansion was also decorated with lights and colors, with red silk and double happiness everywhere. A row of red lanterns were hung up, and even the trees were tied with red silk. The Duke was idle at home, so he spent the whole day with the butler studying the layout of the mansion. There hasn't been a happy event in the mansion for many years. We'd better make it lively this time to add some joy and popularity. Otherwise, this huge house will look rather deserted. Everyone in the mansion was busy except the rose courtyard, which was deserted. When Jiang Zhen came to the mansion, Ningwei didn't dare to go out for a walk. She only came out to take a breath of fresh air when it was dark at night, for fear of running into Jiang Zhen. This is called not doing anything wrong and not being afraid of ghosts knocking on the door. She has something to hide, so she is so scared. Jiang Yin goes out early and comes back late every day, still living a life of playing with cats and dogs and debauchery. After 3 years in the military camp, he has not changed at all. However, he probably won't learn anything in the cook camp. Sometimes when he saw Jiang Zhen, he would greet him politely and then keep his distance from him. Every time Jiang Zhen saw him greeting him, he would respond coldly. After all, the harm would not affect the innocent child as he was still young at that time. After Ningwei stopped taking care of the household, a lot of household expenses were saved, and the housekeeper managed the Duke's mansion in perfect order. Jiang Yu's wedding room has also been decorated. It's all festive red, and maids are coming in and out to decorate it. Planted in the yard. In early September, the hibiscus is in full bloom, and the whole yard is filled with the fragrance of hibiscus. In the evening, Fengying brought Qianyang, who was pregnant, to the Duke's mansion. The young master was immediately overjoyed, and he had to be there to watch it with his own eyes. Because the new house had just been decorated, Jiang Yu had to stay in the side room tonight. The 9th day of the new year was approaching, and Jiang Yu was feeling a lot of inexplicable emotions in his heart. In short, he was very nervous and panicked. Anan brought Fengying in. He saw this scene. Their young master paced back and forth in the yard with his hands behind his back, looking up at the sky from time to time and staring at Furong in a daze from time to time, and did not notice that the 2 of them had come at all. In the past, the young master was very vigilant, and any movement would not escape his ears. Now it seems that the young master's back looks a little hesitant.
Why?
Young master, what are you doing? Fengying asked Anan with his arms folded. Anan shrugged and shook his head. I don't know. It's been like this these past few days. I feel like I've lost my soul, especially today. It looks weird. I always feel like the young master's breath is unstable. When Fengying heard this, he felt that this description was familiar to him. After thinking about it carefully, he suddenly realized. Then he patted Anan on the shoulder. Go ahead and do your work. I want to chat with the young master. Anan was Fengying's apprentice. Now that he was retired, he stayed at home to take care of his wife and children every day. So Anan took over his position beside the young master and was in charge of the daily arrangements and dispatches of the secret guards under him. Anan nodded and left. The young master is getting married tomorrow, and the safety of the mansion must be guaranteed. He doesn't want any accidents or bad things to happen in the young master's marriage. Young master, Fengying shouted from behind, and Jiang Yu came back to his senses. Now that you are here, please sit down. Jiang Yu regards Fengying as his brother. Fengying is a few years older than him and grew up with him. After returning from the front line, he thought that Fengying has followed him for so many years and has always centered around him. Now it is time for him to live a peaceful life without having to follow him on the edge of a knife and lick blood. Now that Fengming is here, he treats him like an old friend. Young master, you are about to marry the princess, so you are excited and nervous? As soon as he sat down, he directly pointed out Jiang Yu's state of mind. He couldn't deny that he was indeed very excited, but also nervous. Looking at his expression, I knew he agreed. Fengming then laughed. Young master, I understand your feelings very well. I was also very excited and nervous in the days before Qionyang's wedding. I felt that every moment of the day was so difficult. I couldn't sleep and could only count the days on my fingers. When Jiang Yu heard what he said, his eyes lit up. Yes, that's right, that's the feeling, exactly the same. He just felt that the days were particularly difficult to endure, as if they were moving slowly forward. These past few days, he would always wake up easily when he lay down at night, and several times he woke up to find that it was still dark. He wanted to find Su Wan, but was hindered by the custom that they could not meet before marriage. 8th finally arrived, but the day felt particularly long. Young master, I'm telling you, you'll have a few sips of wine in a little while, then lie down on the bed and fall asleep quickly. Tomorrow morning, when the time comes, someone will naturally wake you up, and I guarantee you won't be late. Fengming began to give Jiang Yu some advice on how to make time pass faster. He really couldn't wait to see Su Wan in her red makeup and wanted to marry her home. This is a good idea. Jiang Yu thinks it is feasible. He stood up and patted Fengming on the shoulder. Thanks, brother. I'll ask Ainen to treat you later. I'm going to get some wine. Jiang Yu said that the wind is rain, and he left Fengming and went to find some wine. Soon, he found 2 jars of old wine and gave orders to a few secret guards. Wake me up at 11 p.m. on time. Remember not to delay. Also, prepare some hangover medicine. He was afraid that he would make mistakes if he drank too much, but he could rest assured that on such an important day, no matter who made a mistake, he, the groom-to-be, would not make any. He drank 2 jars of wine. It would be strange if he didn't get drunk. He lay on the couch. He hadn't slept well in the past few days. He felt sleepy in an instant and fell into a deep sleep. At the same time, Su Wan was also unable to sleep and was very nervous on the eve of her wedding. She is a bride, and she is getting married tomorrow. This is a major event in her life, the first time in her 2 lifetimes, so how can she not be nervous? But she is also looking forward to it. At night, the ladies were arranged to rest in the side rooms, and she was the only one left in the yard. Su's mother came in the night. She planned to sleep with her daughter tonight. Su Wan was the flesh and blood that fell from her body, but the mother and daughter were separated since childhood. It has been more than 5 years since they were found together, and in a blink of an eye, she is about to get married. But as her mother, she had never slept with her, talked to her, or even shared a private conversation with her. Tonight was a good opportunity, so she came. Su Wan hadn't slept yet. When she saw her mother coming, she was surprised why she hadn't rested at this time. Mom, why haven't you slept yet? Tonight, I want to sleep with you, and we can have a private chat. After all, we won't have the chance to do that in the future. As she spoke, Su's mother's eyes turned red, and her nose felt extremely sore. Su Wan's nose suddenly felt sore, and she smiled and nodded. Okay, let's sleep together tonight. So, Su Wan took Su's mother's hand and went into the bedroom. The mother and daughter were lying on the bed. Su Wan was sleeping inside, and Su's mother was sleeping outside, and she was leaning on her mother's shoulder. You're getting married tomorrow. Time passes so quickly. I always hoped that you and your husband would get married soon, but when this day finally comes, I can't bear to let you go. Su's mother said, and she couldn't hold back her tears anymore. Su Wan wiped her tears distressfully. Mom, don't cry. I'm not going to stay home in the future. I'm not going to marry far away. Jiang Yu bought a mansion next door to us. I'll move back when the time comes. We can still see each other every day. How can that be possible? You just got married. How can you move out? My daughter, let me tell you, although Ayu dotes on you and Duke Jiang is on your side, we still have to follow some rules. After you go there, you have to stay in the Duke's mansion for a while. At least you have to spend your first New Year there, right? Sue's mother is a very reasonable person. She knows the rules and how to behave. Suwon felt that what his mother said was right. It was indeed not possible to move out right after arriving there. Well, I'll listen to you. The mother and daughter talked to each other many heartfelt words that night, and Suwon fell asleep while they were talking. She had to get up before dawn, take a bath and dress up, as a lot of things were waiting for her. At the hour of evening, the Sue mansion began to become lively. To be more precise, it was Suwon's yard that began to become lively. Luyan and the others prepared hot water. Suwon was woken up by her mother. She had slept late last night and was still a little unconscious, so she soaked in the hot water tub and took a sweet bath. Bathing, put on the base of the wedding dress first, and save the outermost green wedding dress with a long shawl for last. Suwon's crowns are all made with kingfisher feather craftsmanship, and the pearls inlaid on them are all produced in the South China Sea, and are the best quality pearls selected by Fengyue Villa. The tiara is very delicate, so it is quite heavy. These jewelry were all prepared by the Duke's mansion. Suwon did not participate in the whole process. He only saw this set of wedding jewelry a few days ago and was deeply amazed. The necklace, ring, bracelet, and earrings were all made with kingfisher feather carvings, which matched her wedding dress perfectly. As the saying goes, red goes with green, and the most vulgar is the most elegant. They began to apply makeup on Suwon's face. They chose bright red lip balm to make her lips look like cherry lips, and also put light rouge on her cheeks. All the hair was tied up to make it convenient to wear a hair crown later. Most classic step is to put arc-shaped pearls on the cheekbones of both cheeks. These are the wedding customs of Jean State. The face makeup is made of pearls, and the flower ornaments on the forehead are also made of pearls. Dignified and elegant, this set of makeup on Suwon's face is simply beautiful beyond words. The main thing is that when she smiles, she has two shallow dimples, which makes the makeup look even more upscale. Came to watch were all amazed by Suwon's appearance. Princess Xuanla's pearl face makeup was so beautiful. I have seen so many beautiful brides, but only she gives people a different feeling. Lin Jingshu is a bright beauty, but Suwon is a lively beauty. Shen Qingli, Sun Linger, and Jiaqing were all excited when they saw Suwon after she put on makeup. Suwon is usually simple. She doesn't do anything messy on her face. At most, she would put on some lip balm to improve her complexion. Now, after she dressed up so formally and put on red makeup, she looked unexpectedly stunning. Prince Jiang saw Suwon today. Wouldn't he be confused? She wore a long green wedding dress with wide sleeves embroidered with peacocks and a red shawl that was dotted with pearls and embroidered with gold thread, with red cuffs showing at the edges. This wedding dress was entirely embroidered by Shen Qingli stitch by stitch. Putting on the kingfisher necklace, bracelet, several kingfisher gem rings, and earrings, Suwon exuded elegance. But these things are so heavy, and I haven't even put on the crown yet. She couldn't imagine how heavy it would be if she put it on. Before the auspicious time, Shen Qingli absorbed her experience and had someone prepare a few light-tasting but filling breakfasts for Suwon to eat in advance. Otherwise, after all the trouble, it would be noon by the time they were done, and they couldn't eat during this time. She was afraid that Suwon would be hungry in the Duke's mansion. At that time, Sun Linger, Jiaqing, and Luo Shiju will all go to accompany her. They are all girls waiting to be married and can go to accompany the bride. Suwon didn't act pretentiously. She ate her fill and then put on some makeup. It was a noisy place here, and her 5 brothers came to Suwon to see her. Today, the 5 brothers all wore what they thought were the most luxurious and respectable clothes to support Suwon. They had already discussed it. If Jiangyu came over and wanted to take Suwon away, it would not be an easy task. They have to pass the assessment of their 5 brothers. Yi Run's is also among them, and soon the 6 of them will block the door together. Jiangyu had seen this before at Su Jing's wedding, so he was well prepared. He drank so much last night that he fell into a deep sleep. He was not awakened until the morning. After drinking 2 bowls of sobering soup and taking a bath, he was fully awake. The Duke's mansion was setting off firecrackers early in the morning. He dressed himself up, wearing a bright red wedding gown and a golden crown on his head. 2 red crystal chains hung from the crown, scattered around his ears, and were faintly visible among his hair. The red outfit made Jiangyu look even whiter. Today he was more energetic than ever before. When my grandfather saw him like this, he was so happy that he kept saying many good words to him. Good, great. Our AU is finally getting married. He has finally gotten what he wanted and married a wife he loves and who also loves him. The spirits of your mother and your grandmother in heaven can rest in peace. The old man was really happy today, with smiles all over his face. Even his son-in-law, whom he usually disliked, seemed to like him today. Jiangyu saw that the time had come to go out to pick up the bride. The closer it got to this moment, the more excited he became, and a smile was always on his face. Thinking that his girl was still waiting for him, he felt refreshed. Finally, the time for departure arrived. He rode on an Arabian horse with a big red flower tied to it, and set off for the Su mansion with the wedding procession and the bridal sedan to pick up Su Wan. His group of groomsmen was very simple, consisting of only Ainin, Fengying, and Morong Huai, who also came to support him. He thought that he should be enough, and he could bear the troubles of his brothers alone. It was a sweet burden. In the hibiscus pavilion of the Su mansion, the hibiscus flowers in the yard are blooming extremely brightly, in a riot of color, and the whole yard is filled with the fragrance of hibiscus flowers. The brothers came in and saw Su Wan, who was already dressed neatly. They all looked like they were worried about something. There is reluctance, happiness, and sadness. Today's star is their younger sister, who looks even more beautiful than usual. Seeing her outfit, the brothers all felt a little jealous. Today, she will belong to someone else's family. They have treated her like a treasure over the years. Su Wan is like a unique flower. After the men in the family became capable, they took meticulous care of her. But now a man came and wanted to take away the flower and the pot. How could she feel uncomfortable? Wan, you look so beautiful today. Su Jing reached out and gently touched her head. She hasn't put on the hair crown yet because she thinks it's too heavy and a burden, so it would be the same even if she puts it on when she goes out later. Thank you for the compliment, big brother. I know I'm beautiful. Su Wan smiled and took the opportunity to be narcissistic. Although you are usually beautiful, you are the most beautiful today. Su Yun, who was standing at the back, interrupted and said, it's still the same recipe and the same taste, very authentic, and it's the uniqueness of fourth brother, with a sense of tenderness anytime and anywhere. Come, put on the hair crown and let fifth brother take a closer look so that I can go back and draw how you look today. Sui walked to the front and said with a smile. When the hair crown was delivered, he took the crown away separately and drew it, just thinking of keeping it as a reference to record Su Wan's beauty today. Su Wan obediently asked someone to help her put on the hair crown, then she stood in front of Su Yi and slowly turned around twice. Su Yi looked carefully from head to toe, seeing every detail on the wedding dress, and then memorized them firmly in his mind. Wan, you are getting married. I am very happy that you can marry the one you love. I wish you peace and happiness for the rest of your life, and success in everything. I also hope that you and Jiangyu will grow old together and live happily ever after. Su Mu also had mixed feelings in his heart, and what he said was always more realistic. Then I will accept my second brother's blessing. I will carry your blessings and live happily forever.
Su Wan smiled warmly.
Su Chen looked at Su Wan and remembered the first time he saw her 5 years ago. The little girl was pretty and appeared in front of him with a smile on her face.
She was so sweet and well-behaved.
But at that time, she was still childish. Now, 5 years have passed. The little girl has grown into a graceful young lady and is ready to get married. He thought countless times that if Su Wan had been with them since she was a child and there was no mistake, it would be great. They wouldn't always feel that they didn't give her enough company. Third brother, why do you always look at me and smile? Su Wan noticed that Su Chen smiled at her as soon as he came, so she asked. Su Chen heard this and replied, because I am happy and relieved that our Wan finally got her wish and married the man of her dreams. Su Wan smiled shyly, her face full of sweetness. Outsiders were envious of the good relationship between the six brothers and sisters. At this time, someone shouted outside that the groom had arrived and asked everyone to get ready. Hearing that the groom was coming, Sun Linger and Jiaqing helped Su-won to sit down, then handed her a round fan to cover her face. Because of her upcoming wedding, Su-won had her fingernails painted with bright red nail polish a few days ago. Her hands were naturally slender and pretty, and now after polishing her nails into an oval shape and painting them with bright red nail polish, they fit surprisingly well. The five brothers went out together and waited in the yard, and the ladies also ran to the yard to watch the fun. As soon as Jongyu got off the horse, the people from the Su mansion started setting off firecrackers. He brought the matchmaker, Morong Huai, Ainen Fengying, and others to Farong Pavilion. The closer he got to here, the less nervous he became. He was now full of fighting spirit. The five brothers arranged a poetry contest and a martial arts competition. Su-yun personally made a list and did a quick question and answer session when the time came. It was all about when they first met, what Su-won liked to eat and drink, and there was a whole page of information waiting for Jongyu. Su-mu originally wanted to come up with a few questions, but as a medical student, he usually dealt with either medicine or poison. It would be too unlucky to use them as questions on such a fine day as today. Moreover, Jongyu didn't understand at all. Wasn't this just ruining the party?
So he let him go for the time being.
As for Su-yi, he didn't ask any difficult questions. He just helped Su-yun with a few questions. It's not like he hasn't seen Jongyu's painting skills before. How should I put it? It looks good to an outsider, but it is hard for an expert to evaluate it. When Jongyu stepped into the yard, his five brothers had been waiting for a long time. "Brothers, I'm here to pick up Wanwan." Jongyu said this as soon as he came in and bowed to them. Su-yun felt puzzled after hearing this. He has always been very sociable. Su-yun was so angry. Su-jing took the lead and walked to the front. "Ayu, if you want to take Wanwan away, you have to pass our test first. I'll give you a poem and you'll answer it until I'm satisfied." The eldest brother did not waste any time and went straight to the point. Jongyu heard that he was asking for trouble by competing in poetry with the top scholar. So he turned around and looked at Morong Huai. "Brother, can we ask for help?" He couldn't match it, but he brought so many people with him. Morong Huai was quite good at poetry, so he might as well leave it to him. Of course, Su Jing didn't mean to make things difficult for him. As long as he passed this level, it would be fine. Morong Huai understood what he meant, so he patted his chest. "Minister Su, come over here. I will fight you." He just didn't believe it. None of his tang and song poems could be used. Su Jing had already prepared a poem, which was very suitable for today's scene, a 7-character quatrain. Morong Huai thought it would not be difficult to find a poem with the same rhyme, and he quickly came up with one. Su Jing did not deliberately make things difficult for him, and the poem was indeed very good. It could be said that His Royal Highness Prince Sun's poems were always very good and always astounded everyone. But he was always very humble, saying that it was the achievement of others and had nothing to do with him, and that he was just a porter. After that, it was Su-yun's turn to ask questions. 1. When did he and Su-won meet for the first time? Su-yun looked at him and thought that this question was a tricky one. He might think that they first met in the Land Temple. In fact, Su-won said that they had met even earlier. Remembered that day clearly because it was her first time to sell goat milk soap, so she wrote down the date. Jongyu heard it, thought about it, and gave an answer. Su-yun was a little shocked when he heard the answer. He didn't expect that he was right. That day was also very memorable for Jongyu. It was his first day in Qinghe County. In the inn, he met Su-won, who accidentally bumped into him. Although he didn't pay attention to it at the time, he remembered it very clearly when he talked about it later. "Okay, we've passed this one. Next one. What's Wanwan's favorite flower? What are Wanwan's favorite dishes? What are Wanwan's favorite fruits? What are Wanwan's favorite colors?" He asked a lot of questions in a row, and Jongyu answered them all one by one, completely correctly. Su-won was listening in the room and couldn't help but raise the corners of his mouth, thinking, "You are quite a thoughtful guy." Shin Qingli couldn't help but joke. "Wanwan, you are so lucky that your uncle remembers all your hobbies. Yes, it turns out that Prince Jiang is so meticulous. I'm so envious. Jiaqing held his chin with his hand, smiling like an ant. Looking outside again, there was only one question left, which Su Wan asked Su Yun to add. What are the 3 obediences and 4 gains? Jiang, you must answer this question, otherwise he will be finished. When everyone heard this, they thought, 3 obediences and 4 gains. Isn't this a word for women? How come it's used for men? Prince Jiang also need to abide by the 3 obediences and 4 virtues? Hearing this question, Jiang Yu smiled knowingly. The so-called 3 obediences and 4 virtues are: obey the wife's orders, obey the wife when she is angry, and follow the wife when she goes out. These are the 3 obediences. Your wife to dress, be able to endure her anger, be willing to spend money, and remember to discipline your wife. These are the 4 things you have to do. He gave the answer accurately, and his thoughts were suddenly brought back to 4 years ago. They stood in the flower field, discussing their visions of their future significant others. Su Wan laughed again, and everyone understood what the 3 obediences and 4 demands meant. So that's how it is. Everyone was very confused at first, but now it seems that all they can do is admire him. I have to say that Princess Xuanla has a good way of managing her husband. Everyone should follow suit and popularize the male version of the 3 obediences and 4 virtues, preferably to the point where every household adopts it. The brothers were very satisfied. Jiang Yu's attitude was very correct and he could answer all the questions, as if he had seen the answers in advance. The last level is to fight with Su Chen. This fight is just to liven up the fun, and it will end when the time is right. I don't remember how long it has been. The two haven't fought for a long time. Now we don't know who is better. I think a draw shouldn't be a problem. Su Chen walked up to him, looked at him with a smile, and put his hands behind his back. After 2 moves, we will be a family from now on. Jiang saw this situation, but did not comment. The 2 men fought with bare hands, and every move they made, whether offensive or defensive, was similar in nature. The 2 of them were from the same school and learned the same faction of martial arts. Everything was done just enough so as not to hurt the other party. Jiang Yu always remembered that he was the groom today, so his hairstyle must not be messy and his posture must be handsome. After fighting for hundreds of rounds, the winner could not be determined. It was still someone below who said that the auspicious time had arrived, and it was almost time to stop. Su Chen then stopped and smoothed the wrinkles on his clothes. The auspicious time has arrived. You have passed the test. Take Wanwan and go. Jiang Yu asked Anan to help him tidy up, as he wanted to appear in his best appearance when meeting Su Wan. From the fight just now, apart from the fact that her clothes are a little wrinkled, everything else is fine. Inside the room, Su Wan had already tidied up and was waiting for her elder brother to carry her to the front hall to bid farewell to her parents. Wanwan, I'm here to pick you up. Jiang Yu walked in, and just as Su Wan turned around, he saw her at her most beautiful. At that moment, it seemed as if time stood still, and that figure was the only thing left in his eyes. She had 2 dimples when she smiled. I still remember that year when he was blind and saw her for the first time. He lied to her carefully. Later, he found out that he had failed completely. He stretched out his hand. Su Wan handed it to him, walked in front of him, and the 2 looked at each other, his eyes filled with affection. Su Wan looked up at him, swallowed, and blurted out, You look so good today." Jiang Yu burst out laughing when he heard this. Seeing Su Wan's reaction, he was very satisfied and laughed like a monster. He leaned over to her ear and whispered, "Do you like it? From today on, it belongs only to you." Su Wan's heart choked when she heard this, and she couldn't help but glare at him. In Jiang Yu's eyes, this look was quite playful and also had a bit of charm. "Okay, let's go. Don't miss the auspicious time." Su Jing interrupted their flirting. He bent down slightly and half knelt in front of Su Wan. "Come on up, I'll carry you out on my back." Su Wan's eyes were filled with tears for a moment, and 2 tears burst out. She lay on Su Jing's back, and Su Jing carried her up easily. Under the envious eyes of the other 4 brothers, he carried Su Wan out of the yard. Sun Linger and the others helped hold up her skirt from behind. Jiang Yu followed beside her, his eyes fixed on Soo-won's profile. Because of this custom, the five brothers argued endlessly about which brother should carry Soo-won on her back when she got married, and everyone wanted to carry Soo-won on his back. But in the end, Soo-jing said, "I'm the eldest brother, so I should be the one to carry it on my back." Therefore, the brothers were very envious and unwilling because they also wanted to get married without Won-won's knowledge. Halfway through the walk, Soo-won saw a thin layer of sweat on his elder brother's forehead and thought that he was tired because he was too heavy, so he leaned on his shoulder and asked him, "Brother, am I too heavy?" Unexpectedly, Soo-jing smiled and shook his head. "It's not serious. My Won-won is not serious at all. It's just that the sun is too strong in September, and I could not help sweating when I walked a few steps carrying someone on my back." When we arrived at the front hall, Sue's father and mother were sitting on the high chair. The couple were dressed very festively today. She also took out her most decent clothes and jewelry today. Now, the couple doesn't look like farmers at all. It's as if they were born into a wealthy family. Dignified, generous, well-educated, and sensible. Dr. Sun and his wife, as well as his uncle and aunt, were also there, sitting at the bottom. Soo-jing put Soo-won down, and Soo-won and Jong-yu walked into the hall side by side, then knelt down to Sue's father and mother at the same time. The daughter bids farewell to her father and mother. She kowtowed 3 times to Jong-yu solemnly, and Sue's mother nodded repeatedly, crying with joy. She stood up and helped the two of them up, and said to Soo-won earnestly, "You and your uncle must be well, and live happily together for the rest of your life." Soo-won nodded, smiled, and cried. Father Soo took Soo-won's hand and placed her hand in Jong-yu's palm. "Ayu, I'm handing Won-won over to you. You must take good care of her and treat her like a treasure. Do you understand? I will follow the teachings of my father-in-law." Jong-yu silently held Soo-won's hand tightly. The family walked them to the yard. When they went down the stairs, Jong-yu picked up Soo-won and carried her sideways, then walked out with big strides. Soo-won was caught off guard and could only hug his neck tightly, and the tassels on the round fan were tangled together. Sun Linger quickly took it and untied the tassels. Jong-yu was very happy, with a constant smile on his face. It is said that marrying the woman you love is as joyful as winning a battle. But at this moment, he felt much happier than winning a battle. There were many guests watching the fun at the gate of the Soo mansion. When they saw the bride being carried out by the groom, they all cheered. Jong-yu carefully placed Soo-won in the sedan chair. Before leaving, he took the opportunity to kiss her on the lips, which made Soo-won glare at him again. But he didn't take it seriously at all. Instead, he laughed happily. Riding on horses, the band started to beat drums and gongs. 199 loads of dowry stretched all the way. Looking down from above, it was quite shocking. This amount of dowry and this grand ceremony are extremely rare in the whole of Kyoto. They even lost half of their weight on purpose, and they still look very high profile now. Today is Soo-won's wedding, and Soo-yeon gave a direct order that all the dishes in Qinglu will be priced in half today, and passers-by on the street can get free wedding candies. Nothing else, just to give Soo-won some show. Anyone who comes here and says, "I wish Princess Xuanla and Prince Jiang a happy marriage," can get a free serving of double-skim milk, but only 1 serving per person. The wedding procession was walking down the street. Jong-yu was riding on a horse. He was full of energy and high spirits. It was just like that when a happy event comes. In the tea house next door, Gu-yu witnessed this grand event with her own eyes, and countless sorrows welled up in her heart. Compared with Soo-won's scenery, her situation seems very lonely. Now, as a concubine, she has no right to attend even this kind of wedding. It's really ridiculous. Not long after, the wedding procession arrived at the Duke's mansion. There were a lot of guests at the Duke's mansion today, and almost all the officials and their families in the entire Kyoto came to join in the fun. There hasn't been a happy event in this mansion for many years. The sedan chair was put down, and Soo-won picked up the fan to cover her face with trepidation. Only her eyes were exposed, which was stunning enough. The door of the sedan chair was opened, and Jong-yu was outside. The matchmaker asked him to kick the door, but he didn't. He directly lifted the curtain and reached his hand inside. Kicking the sedan door has existed since ancient times, implying that men are not afraid of their wives and women do not show weakness. In Jiang opinion, this is a bad habit. It is not shameful for a man to be henpecked, so why bother about it? He was willing to be suppressed by Su-won and listened to her all his life. Su-won put her hand in his palm and asked him to lead her out. The red carpet stretched from the sedan chair all the way to the mansion. When everyone saw the bride coming down, they all started shouting, "The bride is so beautiful," and applauding. When she entered the room and stepped over the fire basin, Luiying helped her hold up the hem of her skirt to prevent it from being burned by the charcoal fire. Jiangyu supported her and told her to be careful. This attentive scene was full of pampering and consideration in the eyes of the guests. After crossing the fire basin, she walked all the way inside. The guests stood on both sides, staring at the bride. Today is truly a feast for the eyes. Princess Xuanla, wearing a phoenix coronet and a bridal robe, is truly the most beautiful woman in the world. Talented man and beautiful woman, made in heaven, a perfect match. On both sides, there were many maids holding colorful petals, and they scattered them as the two walked. This move was learned on the spot from Su-won. Su-won glanced at him, and he happened to be looking at her, and they smiled at each other. The more Jiangyu looked at her, the more he felt his heart beating violently. In the golden autumn of September, the sky is clear and cloudless, and magpies fly overhead in groups, signifying the arrival of happiness. A series of proverbs were said along the way, such as blessing, peace, harmony, and beauty, and all the words with good meanings were mentioned. Finally, she reached the main hall, near the door. Someone sprinkled something under her feet, and it scatters all over the floor with a gurgling sound. The master of ceremonies shouted, "The house is full of children and grandchildren, and the flowers are in full bloom and the moon is full." After entering the main hall, the two of them bowed directly. Sitting on the main seat were Duke Jiang and my grandfather. Both old men had kind smiles on their faces today, especially the grandfather, who smiled so much when he saw the newlyweds coming hand in hand. Duke Jiang was very pleased. Looking at this bustling mansion and his high-spirited son, he seemed to have never seen him so happy as today. The smile on his face continued and reached his eyes. He looked at Su-won with such deep affection in his eyes that he seemed to see himself more than 20 years ago, who had also looked at his beloved in red makeup, phoenix coronet, and bridal robe, and was so beautiful that she did not seem like an ordinary person. That's great. He didn't regret handing over the 100,000 troops he had commanded. If it could bring happiness to his son, the guilt in his heart would be much less. The words said during the wedding ceremony will be different depending on the master of ceremonies you invite, but they are basically the same, and there is no difference. Worship heaven and earth, worship parents, and husband and wife worship each other. Su-won followed the host's instructions and bowed and knelt. She felt a little confused throughout the whole process. Until that sentence, "The ceremony is over. Send the bride to the bridal chamber." As soon as they finished speaking, Su-won and Jiangyu were sent to the bridal chamber together. The groom can choose to drink the wedding wine at noon or at night. Su-jing's previous wedding was held at night, and this time Jiangyu chose daytime. After he completes these rituals, Su-won will be able to take off her hairpins and jewelry earlier and feel a lot more relaxed. There is one bad thing about drinking the wedding wine during the day, and that is that many noble ladies will make trouble in the bridal chamber. Everyone will witness the two drinking the wedding wine, entwining their skirts, and eating dumplings. The wedding wine is made from a gourd-like vessel, which is split into two halves with a red string in the middle, with each of the newlyweds getting half. It symbolizes harmonious relationship, sharing joys and sorrows, sleeping in the same bed in life, and sharing the same coffin in death. They were sitting on the bed, with lots of peanuts, red dates, and longans under the quilt, symbolizing the early birth of a son. After getting the wedding wine, the mandarin ducks embraced each other and drank it together. The wedding wine tastes bitter at first but sweet aftertaste, which is the meaning of sharing weal and woe in the auspicious saying. The matchmaker tied the hems of their skirts together into a knot, symbolizing eternal love. Everyone looked at the newlyweds with envy. Seeing how loving they were, many noble ladies were envious of them and fantasized that they would be able to find a good husband like Prince Jiang like Princess Xuanla did. Then, the maid brought in a bowl of dumplings for the bride to eat. Su-won held the porcelain spoon, looked at the matchmaker, and asked confusedly, "Do we have to eat now?" "Yes, princess, you can eat now," said the matchmaker happily. Su-won obviously didn't know what was going to happen next, but Jiang knew that he had already understood these procedures in advance. He looked at her with a smile as she took the first bite of the dumpling.
Raw.
Su-won took a bite and found the dumpling was raw, so she stopped. "How is that possible?" the matchmaker said in pretended shock. "It's really raw," Su-won said with certainty. Maids couldn't help but cover their mouths and laugh, and brought a plate for Su-won to spit out the raw dumplings. "Then, princess, try something else," the matchmaker urged again. Some of the noble ladies present were still unmarried, so they didn't understand what it meant. Some of them, who knew, couldn't help but laugh secretly. Those who knew about it were very considerate and didn't say anything, otherwise the entertainment effect would be lost. Su-won looked back at Jiang, only to see Jiang nodded and told her to eat without worry. She really took out another one with the spoon and took a bite, still raw. She said this with certainty, wondering how come the cook in the kitchen of the Duke's mansion was so unprofessional that she couldn't even cook the dumplings. The matchmaker suddenly burst into laughter and asked someone to take the dumplings away. She then asked everyone, "Think about it, how many new words did our bride say just now?" At this moment, Su-won finally understood. 3, the bride said 3 new words. Jiacheng, the conspicuous one, answered immediately. "Then our bride will have to give birth to 3 babies in the future. Your Highness is so lucky." After everyone understood, they burst into laughter. Su-won was a little embarrassed at first, but then she started laughing too. Isn't a Chinese wedding more interesting than a Western one? However, it is impossible for her to have 3 children. In the future, she will have 2 at most, and it would be best if she had both a son and a daughter. Having 3 children is harmful to your health, and you won't have the mental capacity to take care of them. You can't do that. You can't do that. In just a moment, she had thought so far ahead. Everyone had a bridal party. Jiang was carried away by Morong Huai and his 5 brothers. Morong Huai is a very bad guy. He wants to get Jiang drunk. Everyone knows what Sima Zhao is thinking. Before Jiang was taken away, he reluctantly whispered in Su-won's ear, "Wait until I come back." Su-won was helpless. If she didn't wait for him to come back, could he run away? Soon, the originally noisy room became quiet. After the bridal chamber, everyone went out to drink tea, chat, and have a feast. Sun Linga, Jiacheng, and Luo Shiju were left in the new house. The 3 of them would stay with her until the afternoon. After everyone left, Su-won immediately took off all the jewelry and hair crowns on her body, and also took off her outer robe and bridal veil. It was really hot that day. Luckily, there was an ice basin in the house to cool down. No one will come to her place anymore. Xiaonyang originally wanted to come in and take a look, but she was pregnant, and custom did not allow her to touch the bride or the furniture in the bride's room today. I don't know what kind of custom this is talking about. She is now more than 5 months pregnant, and her body is becoming increasingly uncomfortable, so she just stays at home. Fomying and Ainin received orders today and vowed to stop the wine and protect the young master's sobriety. Don't let drunkenness delay his wedding night. At the beginning, when he drank with everyone else, he was quite honest and drank real wine. After drinking for a while, he was so cunning that he asked someone to replace the wine with water. No matter what people advised him, he would accept it. He went to the toilet several times, and when he came back, he was still sober and not drunk. Morong Huai knew that this kid was playing tricks. He tried so hard but couldn't get him drunk, so he knew there was something wrong with his wine. Finally, he found a way to exchange the wine back and forced Jiang to drink 2 more pots. This time, I should say, I was about 5 or 6 points drunk. Fomying and Ainin saw this. What should they do? He quickly summoned a few secret guards to divert the attention of His Royal Highness Prince Sun. Morong Huai got drunk by the end and started to treat Fomying and the others like brothers. They were playing finger-guessing games and betting on drinking. The five brothers didn't want to do anything to Jiangyu, and they didn't want him to drink too much. Today is a great day, and we must have the best experience possible. If we get drunk, then there's nothing to talk about. However, Su-yun drank a little too much. He was already drunk, but he still held the bottle tightly. But despite this, he still missed Su-won. He found Jiangyu, hooked his shoulders, and started to pour out beans. Jiangyu, I'm telling you, if you dare to bully Su-won, I will hunt you down and take Su-won back to you no matter where you are in the world.
Do you hear me?
Also, if you dare to bully her, just wait and see. My fist as big as a sandbag is waiting for you. As he said that, he threw the bottle away and clenched his fist to show Jiangyu. Jiangyu was slightly tipsy and quite excited at the moment because of the alcohol, but he couldn't help but laugh when his fourth brother said that. Fourth brother's fist is only strong enough to break a spider web with one punch. Don't worry, I won't bully Wanwan. She is my life. If she is gone, do you think I can still live? The other four brothers also drank a little too much, but they were better drinkers than Su-yun and did not throw tantrums or cause trouble. Su-yun and Jiangyu argued for a long time, and suddenly he became abnormal, his mouth pouted, and he started crying. The kind of crying that was so loud that all the guests were attracted by the noise.
Wow.
Why did Su-won get married? It hasn't been that long. How come she has grown up? Whoa. He was crying so hard that if you didn't know him, you would think he was in mourning. Everyone started pointing and talking, and some even made fun of Su-yun. He was really embarrassed today. Su-jing and the others couldn't just watch him lose face, or they would lose face as well. So, Su-jing and Su-chin stepped forward and prepared to take Su-yun home. It was already evening, and it was time to go back. As a result, this guy just sat on the ground, as if he had been there forever, crying sadly by himself. This guy usually calls Su-won all the time. It's not that he doesn't love Su-won, but he has developed a habit of it. Sometimes, the more he trusts and is familiar with a person, the more he can be himself in front of her. He knew that Su-won would not misunderstand him, nor would she think too much. Sometimes, he even felt that Su-won was more like his sister, always enlightening and guiding him. In the end, Su-chun could only use brute force to pull Su-yun away. The Su family went back together, so some linger, and the others naturally couldn't stay here any longer. After saying goodbye to Su-won, they went back. In the evening, the maids came in to make the bed, cleared away the peanuts, longans, and other things under the mattress, and laid a white chastity cloth on top. Su-won looked at this thing, and naturally realized what it meant. Even though she was a modern person at heart, she couldn't help feeling embarrassed. Who isn't doing it for the first time? Maids asked her if she wanted to take a bath first, as the prince might be back later. Of course, Su-won wanted it. After taking a bath, she felt refreshed. An experienced nanny was arranged to serve her. She prepared a set of pajamas with a special atmosphere for Su-won, a bright red silk outer shirt with smooth and flowing fabric, and a bright red strapless long skirt underneath, revealing her white collarbone and swan neck. The chest, which looked lifelike. Su-won has a well-developed cleavage and a particularly attractive figure. Lu-yun and Lu-ying couldn't help swallowing when they saw Su-won wearing such an outfit after bathing. Although they had known for a long time that the princess had a good figure, she had never worn this kind of clothes. Not to mention the prince, even the girls would be moved and blush when they saw it, and they said they couldn't resist it. Su-won didn't think there was anything wrong with it. As a modern person, she could totally accept it. And this fabric is really comfortable to wear. She is getting married today, and there are some things she has to face, so why not enjoy herself while she can? The soft hair falls behind her, as smooth as silk. When the nanny saw that she had finished bathing, she took out a booklet and handed it to her mysteriously. Su-won was a little confused and wanted to open it to read it. The old nanny blushed and quickly held her hand. "Princess, you can just watch it quietly by yourself. Before the prince comes back, you can watch and learn from it." After saying that, the nanny called the maid and Lu-yun to go out and closed the door behind them. Su-won then opened the booklet and saw. Wow, what did she think it was? It turned out to be an action movie. She was caught off guard and almost choked on her saliva. After calming herself down a bit, she began to look at it carefully. They were all drawn, in all kinds of poses, which made her feel a little embarrassed. When I think about meeting Jongyu soon, Soo-won immediately felt his breathing quicken, and then he fell onto the bed, rolling around with his face buried in the ground in awkwardness. Oh, so shy. So embarrassed. Is this even possible to think about? After going crazy, Soo-won opened the booklet and studied it carefully. As night fell, Jongyu had not finished his work yet. Morong-hwai was drunk and kept arguing with him. Jongyu really wanted him to leave, but he didn't know how to say it. In the end, Princess Sun came to pick him up in person. Lin Jingshu looked at Jongyu apologetically and reached out to pull him towards her. Morong-hwai immediately recognized that this was his princess and leaned on her shoulder naturally. "Princess, you came to pick me up? Thank you for caring about me so much." He leaned on Lin Jingshu like a puppy and acted coquettishly. Lin Jingshu felt a little socially awkward and could only smile awkwardly. As a result, Morong-hwai kissed her hard on the lips the next second. Lin Jingshu's face immediately turned red. Jongyu pretended not to see it. He finally got rid of the troublesome Morong-hwai. Now he was going back to find Wan. I wanted to see her all afternoon, but never had the chance. I missed her so much. He quickly returned to his yard. Luyan and the others were waiting outside, and only Soo-won was inside. Seeing him coming back, everyone smiled at each other and saluted together. The prince is back, and the princess is inside. The nanny deliberately reminded Soo-won in the room loudly. She was afraid that if she was reading the booklet, Jongyu would come in and find out. How embarrassing that would be. Little did she know that Soo-won had already finished reading the booklet and hid it in the drawer of her dressing table. Hearing Jongyu coming back, she quickly got up and sat up, looking down at her trench, but she still chose to pull her skirt up as hard as she could. Then he pulled his coat closer. "I am a coward, or I am too cowardly. I imagine things are beautiful, but I become cowardly when I face the reality." Jongyu pushed the door open and came in. He could clearly smell the alcohol on himself. But for fear of disturbing Soo-won, he stopped and told them to prepare hot water for bathing and some sobering soup for him. "My lord, everything has been prepared for you. Do you need someone to help you bathe?" The nanny answered respectfully. This nanny is the old nanny of the Jong mansion. She used to serve Jong Shinro and is the wife of the housekeeper of the Duke's mansion. She is an old lady and is steady and careful in her work, so the Duke asked her to serve the Crown Prince's wife in the future. Her surname is Liu, and she is usually called Aunt Liu. Jongyu never had the habit of having someone help him bathe, so he refused outright. "No need. From now on, only you and Luyan Luiying will serve us in our courtyard. No other maids are needed. I am not used to being served by others. You just need to take good care of the wife of the prince. It's not good to have too many beautiful girls around you. Sometimes I'm afraid that Wan will think too much." When he walked in, the bathtub behind the screen was steaming, and Soo-won was sitting beside the couch, looking at her obediently. She was wearing a red silk pajamas, revealing her fair neck and collarbone. Against the red background, her skin looked glowing white. He walked up to her and couldn't help but reach out and touch her face. Soo-won also cooperated. However, the smell of alcohol on him was so strong that it was a bit pungent. She finally held her nose and complained in disgust. "You smell so strongly of alcohol. It's irritating." Seeing his beloved wife being so disgusted, Jongyu could only let out a sigh of relief helplessly. "I'll take a shower quickly." He turned around and took off his robe in front of Soo-won, leaving only his innermost underwear. His perfect body could be clearly seen under the thin clothes. When he puts on clothes, he has broad shoulders and a narrow waist like a dog. When he takes off clothes, he has standard six-pack abs. 8 pieces are too big, 4 pieces are too small, and 6 pieces are just right. Jongyu went to take a shower. Clean pajamas were already prepared for him, and then someone brought in a bowl of sobering soup. He came out, cleaned himself up, drank some sobering soup, and after taking a bath, the drunkenness was somewhat dispelled. He sat next to Soo-won, his body feeling refreshed and fragrant after taking a bath. I don't know why, but at this moment both of them felt a little awkward. In the end, it was Jong-yu who showed off his shamelessness and took the initiative to hold her hand. Won-won, you are so beautiful. Okay, this is awkward, right? Soo-won thought to herself. She burst out laughing. Why do I feel like we haven't seen each other for a while, but it's like we just met? Jong-yu couldn't help laughing when he heard that. He was facing Soo-won, holding her shoulders with both hands, looking at her carefully, then hugging her and burying his head in her neck and kissing her. I finally got you home. I'm so happy today, Won-won, can you feel it? He hugged her tightly and whispered in her ear, tenderly and lovingly. I am happy, of course I am happy, because I married the man I love. I am very lucky. No, it's my luck to meet you. He looked up at her and rubbed her nose gently. Soo-won took the initiative to kiss him on the lips, as light as a dragonfly touching the water. This action undoubtedly ignited Jong-yu's anger. The clothes they wore were thin, and the feeling was even clearer when they hugged each other. He held the back of her head and deepened the kiss, like a raging fire, unstoppable. The two of them kissed passionately at this moment, because they now belonged only to each other. Before she knew it, Soo-won's shoulders were half exposed, and her hair was disheveled. The dense kisses fell on the neck, making people feel dizzy and unable to control their emotions. Jong-yu was excited. His hormones were being secreted to the maximum extent at this moment. The corners of his eyes were redder than any other time he kissed. Slender fingers untied the bow, and the silk satin spilled all over the floor, big and small pieces mixed together. The twin lotus flowers looked particularly gorgeous and full of tension at this moment. Soo-won felt that this night was particularly hot, and drops of sweat were intertwined together. She found that the pamphlets she read were of no use at all because she was completely controlled by Jong-yu. He coaxed her to call him husband, over and over again, as if he could never hear enough. Clearly agreed that it would end after she called him husband, but what was waiting for her was an even more intense baptism. And he kept calling her name in her ears. Soo-won kept crying, and Jong-yu could only coax her, kiss her soothingly, and apologize to her. But the expected reaction was exactly the same, and they bullied her as much as they could. Her toes were always tensing and relaxing, and finally, she couldn't help it and fell into a deep sleep. This night can only be described as exhilarating. Jong-yu knew that Soo-won was a pure girl, and he didn't want to make things too rough for her. So he held her in his arms, cleaned her up, and fell asleep with her in his arms, feeling refreshed. In the morning, Jong-yu-tien got up at dawn, holding the warm and soft beauty in his arms. Soo-won was sleeping soundly on his chest, her little face rosy and her lips slightly open. Her soft appearance made him unable to help but kiss her face lovingly. After being kissed by him, the little girl frowned and rubbed him unhappily, which made his heart soften. At this moment, he felt that he was the luckiest and happiest man in the world. It was still early outside. The two of them had been quarreling until midnight last night, making quite a noise. Maybe he was too excited. He didn't feel tired, but he made his little wife very tired. Her fair neck and collarbone were covered with kiss marks, which were extremely ambiguous. Soo-won likes to move even when she's asleep, and she moves around a lot, which makes Jong-yu angry again. It was a hot day, and Jong-yu's whole body was burning. Soo-won always felt like something was poking him, which was very uncomfortable, so he subconsciously pushed it away with his hand. Jong-yu groaned, grabbed her rebellious little hand, and could no longer hold back and move forward. Soo-won was awakened by a kiss, his hot breath constantly spraying on her neck. His lips were like a branding iron, driven by primitive emotions. A few involuntary sounds came out of her throat. Reaching out to push his chest, Soo-won complained unhappily. Jong-yu, are you done yet? I tortured her so much last night, and now you still won't let her go. You jerk. Young wife's dissatisfaction, when heard by him, became a catalyst. Be good, it will be quick, okay? I don't know how many times I heard this last night, but he never kept his promise, as if he couldn't control himself. In the end, Suwon could only cling tightly to his neck, leaving a few nail marks on his back. When it was too heavy, she bit his shoulder. If you can't resist, just join it. As the saying goes, enjoy life while you can. Clung to the piece of driftwood tightly, like she was drowning, unable to extricate herself. It was unknown how long it had been, but only when she started crying again did Jongyu let her go. He had known her for such a long time, but he had never seen her cry. Only now did he see her with tears in her eyes, and he was fascinated by her. He asked someone to bring in water, and then he held the fragile girl in his arms to wash her. Suwon felt as if his whole body had been run over by a car, and his sensitive areas were burning hot. Behind all this was Jongyu. Of course, Jongyu wasn't much better off, with his back covered in scratches. He had many scars of varying sizes on his body, making him look hideous and terrifying, but Suwon did not despise him. Instead, she caressed and kissed him gently, with endless heartache in her eyes. Bathing, it was already bright outside, so Suwon simply decided not to sleep as he had to serve tea to the Duke and grandfather in the morning. The same applies if you wait until you have finished serving tea, and then come back to rest. Do you want to sleep a little longer? Jongyu asked while holding her. Suwon shook her head, with a few dark circles under her eyes. She hadn't slept much on the eve of her wedding, and she hadn't slept well last night. At the moment, she looked very tired. Come back to sleep after serving tea. Seeing her haggard appearance, Jongyu finally realized that he had gone too far. Although he tasted the sweetness of it for the first time, he still didn't know the seriousness of the matter. I'll sleep with you later. Jongyu didn't sleep well himself. Moreover, now that he had finally married her as he wished, he just wanted to stay with her forever. I didn't ask for an official position at the beginning because I wanted to have a wife and children at home and a warm bed in the future. Suwon heard this and looked at him with disdain. No, you sleep on the couch, not next to me. Suwon refused directly. It is said that men are as lustful as wolves and tigers and never satisfied after eating meat. She has experienced this. She was afraid of him. If she hadn't seen it with her own eyes, she wouldn't have known that this man who had practiced martial arts since childhood could be so durable. Of course, she wasn't completely unhappy. Jongyu looked at her aggrievedly and thought, what should I do? It's just the beginning, and my wife doesn't let me go to bed. So he hugged her and coaxed her. I swear, I will just hold you and sleep quietly, and I won't do anything else, okay? Suwon remained unmoved and said nothing. I really didn't do anything, ma'am. I was wrong. Why didn't Suwon realize that he loved to act like a spoiled child before? The corners of her mouth couldn't help but rise, and Jongyu knew that she had compromised, so he kissed her gently on the lips. Afterwards, Suwon asked Lu Ying and the others to come in. Aunt Lu knew that she had woken up, so she came over to help her tie up her hair. She came in and went straight to make the bed. The chastity cloth was neatly folded and placed in the middle of the bed. The bed looked like it had been made. Perhaps it was too messy, and the lady felt embarrassed, so she made it herself. However, the red color on the chastity cloth was still very obvious. Madame Lu was very happy and asked the maid to bring a new bedding to replace it. It seems that it won't be long before the Duke's mansion will have a little prince or a little princess. Suwon's legs were weak and her back and waist ached. Jongyu, the person involved, had already changed into his daily clothes and was lying on the chaise longue with his chin propped up, watching Suwon get ready. She was a bride, and her clothes for the first 3 days were all red. Now she was no longer a girl, but a married woman, so she had to put all her hair up. Nanny Lu went out for a while, and when she came back, she handed a small jade porcelain bottle to Suwon. Suwon was a little puzzled when she took it in her hand. She opened the lid and smelled it. She smelled a cool and pungent smell, so she asked her what it was. Aunt Lu smiled and whispered in her ear, Madam, the prince is a martial artist, so he must be very careful. After saying this, Suwon blushed in embarrassment. However, she really needed this thing now, so she opened the small drawer and placed the porcelain bottle at the innermost part. Turning her head, she saw Jongyu looking at her intently and smiling. His peach blossom eyes were sparkling, full of affection and smile. She thought it wouldn't be an exaggeration to call him a love-brained person. Suwon asked them to keep their hair simple and not to use too many hair accessories, otherwise it would be a burden and she would feel tired. Therefore, she only wore 2 golden flowers on her head and a golden peacock hairpin. Nanny Lu said that the more festive and luxurious the dress is in the first 3 days, the better. It is a good omen anyway, so Suwon followed her advice. She used powder to cover the dark circles under her eyes and applied lip balm to improve her complexion before Suwon got up and prepared to go out. My calves were a bit stiff due to the tightness, and I felt pain in my calves with every step I took. Jiangyu came over and held her waist consciously. In the eyes of the servants, their actions were naturally a sign of extraordinary affection. The lady entered the room. Could she see how happy the prince was? He had a constant smile on his face and looked refreshed. You have to know that normally he is serious and always has a stern face, and the servants are trembling when reporting things to him. The duke and the grandfather originally thought that the 2 children would probably not get up until very late, so they had already prepared to have breakfast with the leaders of several branches of the Jiang family and did not wait for them. As soon as we sat down, the servants said that the crown prince and his wife had come to serve tea. Everyone quickly got up and went to the hall, each of them holding a big red envelope. After a while, the bride will change her words and the red envelope must be prepared. Arriving at the main hall, Suwon bowed to the duke, his grandfather, and all his uncles. The elders watched the younger generations come in side by side. Jiangyu supported his wife affectionately and asked her to pay attention to the threshold. The 2 elders sitting in the main seat thought at the same time that Jiangyu only gave all his tenderness and care to Suwon. The servant brought 2 cups of tea. Suwon toasted to his grandfather first. "Grandfather, please have some tea." I have been calling my grandfather this name several years ago, but the meaning of calling him this name now is different. My grandfather took the tea, said several good words, and smiled, revealing his few remaining teeth, which was very funny. Drinking the tea, he took out a red envelope sealed with red paper, which, as expected, contained a stack of silver bills. After Suwon expressed his thanks, he then served tea to Duke Jiang. Duke Jiang looked a little nervous, his hands rubbing back and forth on his knees. "Dad, please have some tea." Suwon's call was very smooth, and Duke Jiang was a few beats late in responding. He took a sip of the tea and took out a very thick red envelope from his sleeve and gave it to her. In addition, there is a bunch of keys. From now on, you will be the only mistress of the backyard of the Duke's mansion. You will be in charge of the household expenses. Here are the keys to the accounting office and the housekeeper's card. You will be in trouble in the future. Jiangyu was quite unhappy with Duke Jiang's behavior. His daughter, Wenwan, just got married. Can't she enjoy more? He gave her the power of housekeeper right after she came. How much more trouble will she have to worry about such a big duke's mansion in the future? However, with so many uncles and aunts here, he couldn't say anything and could only remain silent. But Suwon didn't think so. She felt that her father-in-law gave her the power of housekeeper so easily because it was a sign of trust in her, and she would live up to everyone's expectations. "Thank you for your trust, father.
I will manage it well."
She took the butler's key and asked Luing to hold it. Afterwards, Suwon offered tea to each uncle one by one, and Jiangyu introduced them to her and told her what to call them. She has 2 dimples when she smiles, and she is very well behaved. Her voice is soft, so she is very popular with the elders. Finally, after a round of tea toasts, Suwon had received a plate full of red envelopes, which looked heavy on the tray. I was afraid I wouldn't remember who owned whom, so I wrote the names on them. After offering tea, Suwon accompanied his grandfather and the duke for breakfast. His waist was really uncomfortable, but he endured it. Finally over, and she went back to rest immediately. Jiangyu was like a good dog throughout the whole process. He never left her side, served her food and served her soup, doing everything himself. Suwon felt that if this continued, she would be spoiled by him and would become unable to take care of herself. After returning home, she lay on the chaise longue and didn't want to move. Jiangyu came over and suggested massaging her waist. As a result, as he rubbed it, Suwon started to giggle. It was so itchy. The way he rubbed was different from Lu Yun and the others. It made her feel very itchy and funny. Haha, let go. Stop it, it's so itchy. Jiang Yufei didn't listen. Seeing her laughing like that, he wanted to tease her more. No, unless you say, husband, let me go. Shameless, Suwon complained in her heart, but she couldn't laugh anymore, so she begged for mercy. Okay, husband. Let me go. Jiang Yu then stopped and let her lie down facing him. He raised his hand and helped her remove the hairpins and jewelry from her hair. His movements were extremely gentle, for fear of tearing a single hair. The hairpin was removed, and the black hair fell down instantly. Aren't you sleepy? Can I sleep with you for a while? Suwon nodded and stretched out her hand for him to pick her up. Jiang Yu bent down lovingly, kissed her forehead, and then picked her up sideways. She discovered that this guy really liked to kiss her from time to time, either on the face, nose, or forehead. Lie on the bed and help her take off her outer clothes, leaving only her underwear. He took the jewelry to the jeweler plate on the dressing table and arranged them one by one, then opened the small drawer and took out the small porcelain bottle. When Suwon saw this, he jumped up with a start. No, how could he? Turning around and seeing his wife's shocked expression, he couldn't help but give a meaningful smile. Let me help you apply the medicine. He shook the porcelain bottle in his hand. No. How would you know? She quickly pulled the quilt to cover herself. Although Mammy lowered her voice just now, I still heard it. I am very sensitive to sounds. As long as I want to know, I can guess it, silly girl.